Hey guys, welcome back. We're super excited to have you here. My guest today, I met her at Babes in Toyland. She's an incredible, incredible artist. I'm really, really excited to have a working musician on here, an actual very talented musician on here. She's a pop and R&B vocalist. She's got videos with millions of views. She engineers her own music, and we're really, really excited to have her here today. Miss Alus, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, we're really glad you came out here to Las Vegas to do this interview.
I did.
How did you find out about Babes in Toyland, first off?
I think my manager just was like, we're going to an event.
Yeah.
I was like, I had just moved to LA when I was going to those events. So I was very just like out at every event.
Yeah.
I've kind of like scaled back a little bit because I feel like there's a time to be seen and then a time to just not be seen.
Listen, for me, we're just trying to raise money for the animals. That's the only thing.
That's right.
That was the only reason why we were there. So that's one of the things I love about it.
And if it's for a good cause, I'm always there.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I remember being really intrigued talking to you during that time, and I'm glad we got to do this. You're originally from New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, but you live out in Los Angeles now.
Yes.
Tell me about a Jersey upbringing. What was that like? Your grandmother played with the Rat Pack, which I think is awesome. Out here in Las Vegas, for those of you who don't know, I live on Dean Martin Drive.
Oh,
okay, across from Dean Martin Drive on the other side of the I-15 is Frank Sinatra Drive.
Get out.
North of Dean Martin Drive is Sammy Davis Jr. Drive.
Period.
And when you turn on Dean Martin, you turn left or you turn west, you are on, what's the fourth guy's name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember right now. The comedian. Anyway, whatever.
Frank Sinatra's my guy.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about your upbringing in New Jersey.
Jersey. Okay, so I'm definitely a Jersey girl. I feel like New Jersey tries to claim New York so much, but there is a difference, right? Jersey, you have North Jersey, you have South Jersey. I'm from North Jersey, so I was raised like going down, we call going to the beach down the shore. My family had a shore house where we, and it's not like how the TV like shows kind of show it where it's like seaside. It was like really wholesome, nice family gatherings, like at the beach, you go every summer when school's off. And then growing up, I would just go to New York City like all the time with my friends, when we started going out. So that was like my East Coast, I like to call it the East Coast hustle because I'm so happy I was raised on that side of the United States, because we all know Los Angeles is a little different of a vibe.
Listen, we're going to get into LA versus Vegas. I have a ton of questions. Or LA versus the East Coast. I have a ton of questions about that. So you grew up there. Did you have a big family? What was that like? You had a musically inclined family.
Yes, for sure. So my grandmother on my father's side, she went to Juilliard in New York City, very prestigious. She played professional violin, and she was touring with the Rat Pack, was in a lot of different symphonies. She went to like Switzerland and was training. Like this woman worked so hard. She would tell me stories about how she would play like 16 hours a day, really practicing on and working on her craft. So I come from this lineage of people that just, first of all, work hard, because I know even my dad, he's just a hard worker, and he has musical talent as well. He played drums, he played trumpet, he still plays drums. He became a chef. So, he didn't become a musician. I mean, he definitely could have. And of course, I came out of the womb and I was just like, like I just like immediately was like, guys, I'm here. I have arrived. I mean, there's something to be said about being born on New Year's, like you pop out and you're like, I have arrived, So like, I mean, I just think that I was like, I think I was born a star.
Let me ask you something. So I meet some people who have different levels of extroversion, right? Some people have to get over stage fright.
Okay.
Throughout your life, for me, I get energy when I go on stage and talk to people. When I was at Babes, I don't get nervous. I'm actually nervous talking to people one-on-one. When I'm in front of 1,500 people, I'm like, let's fucking go.
Are you nervous now?
No, I mean, more so than when I'm on stage, right? Because I want to get these questions right. But in your situation, like, did you ever have stage fright, or did that give you energy the first time you went up and performed in front of people?
No, I was like the annoying kid at every family party that was like, can we do a talent show? And then like everybody in the family is just like, if you want.
The family talent shows at Christmas.
Yeah,
I used to do that, yes. But I would do MC Hammer.
Oh, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm old.
So you had a dance kind of
We had a dance contest for this is Christmas. And my Catholic mom's family and my Baptist dad's family, they were sitting there watching like, what the fuck are these kids doing? Yeah. Anyway, so you did the family talent show.
Yeah, but like nobody, it's like my parents loved to see me sing and loved to support me. Like I would do all the school talent shows and anything that had anything to do with music, choir. We had this school band called School of Rock, just kind of like the movie. And anything in school, like even in my town, I was just known as an artist. Like anybody that went to high school with me that knows me would say, yeah, she was a singer. So they supported me in like every aspect. But I was just an annoying kid that always wanted wanted to sing, always wanted to dance, always wanted to perform, always wanted to sing for anybody that would watch me, like, you know, so that was like me 24/7. But my grandmother was the one who really encouraged that, because when I would go spend time at grandma's house, like, she lived in New York City, and it was like she really embraced the fact that I really like was an artist at an early age. Like, I wanted to write songs. I wanted to show her, like, look, grandma, I wrote this new song on my piano. And like, maybe it wasn't very good, but she would just be like, let me hear it again. And let me hear it again. And then she would bring me and my sister to see Broadway musicals, and like we went to go see ballets and operas. And I think growing up, being surrounded by the arts, like even going to her house, she would play Bach and Mozart. And like now I listen to classical music when I'm home, and I'm just like, that's weird, because not weird, but I find it very like enjoy and very peaceful. And a lot of people my age are just not doing that. And I feel like, you know, your upbringing really affects how you kind of like maneuver through your life, you know? And so, yeah, I think just my family definitely supported me, but I was always the annoying kid that wanted to be seen. So I was never nervous.
Was there a favorite musical? Was there somebody you watched? Because you're seeing them on stage, right? You know, and I think a lot of people, it kind of still blows my mind that the guy who played Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, is like one of the most famous Broadway actors in the world. You know, he's killing people in the movies, and then he's singing on this thing. Was there a favorite actor or actress for you in Broadway?
I remember I did see Wicked with Kristen Chenoweth when she was like on there before she became like massive like movie star. One of the
very, very few musicals I've seen was Wicked. Yeah,
it was a great show. Right?
In Atlanta, Georgia, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But Kristen wasn't in it, was she?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. Everybody knows she's like, you know, huge actress and like phenomenon now. But you know, back then she was this Broadway star. And then what else? I mean, I've seen this show. Well, I saw Lin-Manuel Miranda perform in The Heights, like the actual, like him, the actual cast. When I was really young, I think I actually saw it twice. Yeah. And I love that because, you know, I'm Latin, so I'm just like, and the Heights, dun, dun, dun. Like I was like, I would leave there like, yes, even though I didn't grow up in the Heights or anything. But I just love like the musicality of it all. And then of course he blew up. So it's so cool to see like the original cast. Actually, shout out to Miles, who is playing MJ right now, a friend of mine. And he's playing Michael Jackson. And like just seeing him, and he won a Tony. It's like crazy to see the original cast, because I already know like just from seeing other stars that I've admired so much that there's so many great things that are about to happen to him. So, you know, congrats, Miles. But yeah, I love Broadway just growing up, because it was like that initial really awakening of like, oh my God, I really want to be on stage. You know, because I wasn't going to pop concerts every week. It was like Broadway. You know, a
little bit more classically trained.
Yeah,
the reason why I wanted to have you on is what I appreciated is you do understand, and I'm sure you've seen this before, and not to denigrate on any of these people, but it is the girl who became a playmate and then wants to sing, become a DJ, wants to sell cryptocurrency and become a real estate agent at the same time. You know that girl, right?
Yeah.
And you started off as a singer. Yeah. You could model also, but you didn't start off as an influencer and then moved in. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I see this so frequently, or the model who wants to become an actress as opposed to the woman who went to Juilliard and then also models at the same time.
Right. I mean, no hate against anybody who does, because there's people that are influencers that can, you know, cross over and have a very successful career. But for me, I've never wanted to just do anything other than sing. Yeah. So
when you meet people like that, though, you can tell the difference pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that's what being in LA kind of shows you when you are an actual artist. I'm not putting anybody down, but I'm just saying, like, when I have a conversation with somebody, I could tell, like,
how serious they're taking it.
About it. Yeah, you about that life. I'm about that
so I was an actor for 2 years in LA. I worked for a casting agency, or not casting agency. I worked for a management company, and I was an actor. And I remember very clearly being able to tell this fucking guy is way better than me. Like immediately being like, this is his life, right? I'm working for a hedge fund on the part-time. This guy's life is being an actor. I could tell this is a serious human being who is much better than me. And it causes me to actually appreciate actors more, because I can tell how hard it is for them to do it. Same thing when I can't sing worth a fuck. And then I see you and you're awesome. And it's like, to me, I come to the realization of how much harder it is. I love watching people at the top of their craft to be able to do what they can do. Yeah. And so that's always really interesting to me, when you can tell when somebody's like very serious about it, or when somebody's like a big influencer who's trying to become a DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the big key differentiator there is actually just like how much time do you put towards your craft. Because if you start off as like an influencer, but then you go, you know what? I'm going to be the biggest superstar on the planet, and I don't care what anybody says. And if you go in, you're home, you're writing, you're recording yourself, you're working on your media training, you're doing everything you can as an artist, and you go 150%, like, that's you working on your craft. So, like, yeah, if you're about it, like, it's very obvious, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think a majority of people just think maybe are...
It's because they think what you do is easy. That's why.
Right.
They think you just call up Timberland and he just sends you a beat. You call up you call up Ye. You call up Ye and he just sends you a fucking beat. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just famous. That's what they think. They legitimately think that's how it works.
Yeah.
For like rappers and artists. I've seen this, happen several times before. The other thing is, and you just tell me if you feel this way. If you put out music that you loved and other people didn't, you kind of wouldn't give a fuck. You'd kind of be like, I'm doing, some of this is for me, my creative expression.
Yeah.
Where someone who's an influencer, they're only going to do the poppest, most mainstream thing to get the most clicks and views.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's always been the big debate. Like, it's like, do you want longevity or do you want like a quick microwavable song, right? And that's what like TikTok has kind of introduced to us, is like these songs could be really big moments in time, but they're not necessarily here 20 years later, like some of the greats that like I've studied, like when I look at music, I don't want to just be here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, like my favorite artists are the stars, like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, like Celine Dion, like real like singers, real artists, that are still memorable, right? And that's the issue, is like today, because the internet, it's a great thing to have. We have so much content. It's just like, what's here to stay, what's here to go. And you can very clearly tell when it's a very microwavable moment. So you kind of got to keep reinforcing, like, no, here's another one. Here's another one. No, I'm here to stay. Like, here we go.
Yeah. And the other part of it is, like, I'm old enough to remember, like, all of Cardi B's tracks and Megan Thee Stallion. These are all 3-6 Mafia tracks that I'm listening to these beats.
Yeah.
Now, these came out 20 years ago. Like, that's an old track from Bill Withers. That's like, these tracks are being redone, and then I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh yeah, and I think it's the old song, and then I'm talking to somebody next to me who's 25, and I realize, wait, they don't remember the original track. They don't remember that Juicy J made this track. They don't have any idea that Mariah Carey did this original track. They don't remember at all. This is originally Aretha Franklin's track. They don't remember that at all. Or Bill Withers, who's probably the most sampled dude of all time. They don't remember that.
Yeah, samples today can confuse. But so it's interesting because I talk about this a lot with one of the producers I work with. So it's like, it's introducing to the new generation this sound that they've never, they don't know the older records. So maybe they're just like, this is dope. Like, they might think it's cool, right? But the people that really know the music appreciate it, because you go, oh yeah, that's familiar. I remember that record.
There was you have to pay royalties when you jack a beat like that. And so if you listen to tracks like Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys, or you listen to old NWA tracks or the Ghetto Boys or 3-6 Mafia or UGK, they sample so much stuff like I think 1993, and then afterwards they have to stop and they have to like pay the artist for it. But like if you go back and listen to old Ice Cube tracks, every single track is ganked from somewhere else. Yeah. Same thing with Biggie's early tracks. Like it was a very different time, especially with early hip hop where stuff was like that. And then I hear these beats and I'm like, oh, you don't remember the original track. You don't even know what it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I like sampling though, because I do love paying, because there's a way that you could do it where you're paying homage, right?
Of course.
It's not like a ripoff.
So you're allowed to do covers, but you still do have to pay royalties to the writer. Is that how it works?
Yeah, there is a percentage that goes, of course, because you have a license at that point. But even in my original records, like a lot of the stuff that is coming out next for me is definitely going to have samples, but it's in a way that makes you go, I remember that time.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And it's introducing something new at the same time, but it's kind of giving you a little hint of something that was here before, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I think people would like it,
So let's talk about this. At some point, what is the inflection point where you realize I got to move to Los Angeles from the East Coast?
It's crazy because I really did not want to. I had like been back and forth LA, New Jersey, LA for like so many years. There was like months I would just live in LA because I was working so much like in the studio. And then it just came to a point where like my family had moved out basically of the state. Well, like my immediate family, not all, like I still have a lot of family back there, but and then my dad actually was just like, I think it's time that you go to LA. Like my own father telling me this, and usually think like your parents or whatever would be like, no, stay home, or like not stay home, but like stay in New Jersey. He was already gone. So he's like, you don't really have a reason to stay. And my sister had already moved to LA. She's not even like, she doesn't even make music or anything. She just like, her job had taken her there. So I was like, okay, I guess if it feels right. And I kind of, I meditate a lot. So when I'm looking for an answer for something, I kind of ask the universe. And it was the time. Like, my intuition is always spot on. Like I'm really in tune with myself. And I had thought that I wanted to many years before, but I just said, no, it's not the time. It's not the time. And then like the pandemic happened. And then right afterwards, like something was like, this is the time. You got to go. And then like things just started to fall in place. So it made sense. Like, look, you can't, Steve Jobs said that quote when he told that speech at the valedictorian, whatever. He said that you can only, put the pieces together looking back, or you can only connect the dots looking back, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And when you look at these things, it all makes sense because it's really falling in line in like a way that's so divine.
Okay, so now I lived in LA. I go there several times. You initially moved where? What were some of the culture shocks? I like being able to park. Again, not something you can do. I like being able to turn left. Is apparently things you can't do in Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, it's not like it was my first time. It's not like I was like in a new country, you know, because I'd been there for so many. But I just think that they tell you, well, when I say they, it's like you always hear this rumor or like this thing about everybody's fake in LA, everybody's fake. And I'm not going to say that people aren't. I just think that people could be fake anywhere.
They could be fake anywhere, yeah.
So it's all about who you surround yourself with and the energy that you keep yourself around. And I just feel like when I moved to LA, I just kind of like understood that was the common, conversation. And I just said to myself, okay, I'm just going to be very careful who I surround myself with.
Yes.
Because I don't want to just get caught up. Because I've seen that story so many times where like an artist will move and maybe I've like think they're really dope and I've kind of see them kind of grinding and then they get caught up like partying or doing something. And I've just never been about that, So like even going to events, I'm like, I don't really want to go anymore unless my presence is needed,
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I go for the influencer events is because they're always about charity. And what you'll find is that people who are like super narcissistic or like psychopaths, they can't keep going to charity events. Eventually they're like, wait, what do I get out of this? And I'm like, nothing. You don't get anything out of this. We're just helping dogs.
Right.
Yeah, but what do I get out of this? Like, no, you don't get anything out of this. We're just collecting toys for homeless children. That's all you get.
I know.
If you don't want to do it, don't fucking come.
Right. I used to be an ambassador for ASPCA and back when I was in New York. And so I always used to go to the events. We would have these events where people would adopt the dogs. They would bring them there. And it was just such a nice, like, it makes you feel like you've contributed in some way, shape, or form to just make sure that an animal got into a good home. And like, I'm a huge animal lover. Like I grew up with dogs in my house. I grew up with cats. I have one cat at home now from my family. Like we grew up with this cat and he's like my soulmate.
How old is the cat?
He's like 12 now.
12?
Yeah, but he's like a kid. Well, he's not a kitten, but he just like
only
has
indoor?
Energy. Yeah, only indoors.
You feed him wet food?
Yeah.
So I've adopted 11 cats. And I don't have them now.
Wow!
I only have 3. But
a cat man.
I rescue cats, yeah.
I love it.
No, that's the key is indoor. They live to 15. And if you feed them wet food, they don't die of kidney failure. If you keep feeding them kibble and let them go outside, they're going to die around 5 or 7.
Wow. I love that I'm hearing this now because the reason we switched from the dry food was because he was just a little chunky.
Yeah. Well, you can feed them both, but it's really weird. I did not think we were going to talk about this. Cats can drink salt water and they can be hydrated by it because their kidneys are so used to only processing meat. Cats are carnivores. They're not omnivores. Yeah. Dogs are omnivores.
Right.
Cats can only digest animal protein. So because of that, you feed them kibble, which is like, small pieces of chicken or fish or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's always dry, then they eventually develop stones. Cats don't die from cancer or heart disease. They die from kidney failure. And so that's the reason why. So if you keep their kidneys around, they can live to like 20 years old.
Oh my God, he's going to live long then because he's got a good life. Like you don't understand. He's got a good life.
Oh, I know. I got 3 of them. I got one of them 22 pounds is like so fat and he's like,
little chunky.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah.
All right, so you have that. You move here. What part of what general neighborhood did you move to?
I don't like to say this on
Okay, all right. You don't have
people,
to.
I had a stalker one time.
Okay, so actually, let's get into that because that is another Los Angeles type thing.
Well, that was back on the East Coast.
You had a stalker.
Yeah, they had like found my address on the internet because the internet gives you everything. By the way, try it, try it, internet, because it's everything is.
You bought a Glock?
I know how to shoot.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And I got aim too.
Okay, good.
But no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that like You have to just be careful because the internet is a place that people can find anything about you. So I'm very like careful about what I say because somebody had found where I live online. Like,
so you still live in the same place? That's all I'm asking.
No, well, I live in when I moved to LA, I'm in a good place now. Like you can't find me, you really can't. Like I've hidden every single.
I'm just saying is we all moved there the first time, and I'm in some like little shithole. Like I think I'm paying more for my place in LA than I was in Vegas for like this rotted floor, like sliding down the hill.
Jesus.
You know what I'm talking about? And I have friends that paying $3,500 for a 1-bedroom. And it's like sliding down the hill down the Santa Monica Mountains. You know what I'm saying? With no parking, the air conditioner barely works. That's what I'm talking about. The original move to LA experience. You get some shithole house in NoHo or something like that, or you work out to in Encino or something. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm happy I moved like a little bit later because I'm a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
like you got an apartment in Koreatown and you think it's good to go, and then you realize, what is this place?
Right. Yeah, I didn't move like if like I'm pretty good, so I'm like living nicely.
Good. Right.
So I haven't had that experience, but I've seen it, because I've seen, like, I had friends that would, when they're in college and they just start to move to like a big city, they're like new place or whatever, and then they like have to sacrifice their living or whatever, and that was never something I would compromise. I'm like I'm very surrounded or very influenced by my atmosphere, so I have to be like make sure everything is very peaceful and like nice. So yeah, I'm living like pretty nice.
You first moved there, and you mentioned that there were some characters that you were not huge fans of. I have multiple examples of this, right? It's the club promoter / drug dealer / music producer / Bitcoin guy / NFT that guy.
Yeah, I guess / crypto.
With the neck tattoo, you know what I'm saying? Who's managing girls' OnlyFans? That guy, you know what I'm talking. You've met that guy, right?
I've seen him like many times.
Yeah, I've seen him many times, right? So there are characters that you didn't like when you met and you were in LA. What kind of characters? What were some of the initial experiences?
I just think that you do see it's that's why you got to be careful where you go, because you get invited to something and it sounds like, oh, this will be fun, like, oh, like somebody I know is going to be, but then it ends up being like, you're a bad bitch and that's why we wanted you here. And I'm like, okay, but that's not the only thing I have to offer. So I'm not going to put myself in rooms like that unless they know that I'm here for something more.
Yeah.
So I just kind of came to that conclusion. And I've just seen people, there's always somebody that wants to help you in your career and always wants to like get on board and just there, because everybody, like, to be honest with you, people be leeching. You know what I'm saying? They see that because I'm not stopping what I'm doing. I'm going to keep going till the death of me. So like people want to cling on to that and say like, they want to anchor themselves to something that's right? That's going. And I can't have dead weight on my back. Right. So I've seen that a lot where I'm like, okay, word, you want to work? Okay, bring something to the table. And if you don't have anything to provide, get the fuck out of my way. Like can I curse on here?
Yeah, you can curse.
Oh, sorry.
Have you not heard me? Yeah, if you don't curse, we have to ask you to leave. That's how it works.
Because I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I'm just, I don't keep any dead weight around. I've like my circle is very airtight right now.
So they have to at least show some level of value if they're going to, because again, it's one of these situations. I frequently have people hit me up and they're like, hey, Michael, can you get these influencers to join my OnlyFans management agency? And I'm like, well, first off, I don't want to do that. But second of all, if I did, can you show me 10 girls that you got from 100K to $1 million?
Period.
Can you do that? And
show
they're like,
your value.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll get right back to you. And then it's crickets right afterwards. I asked by the way, for my program, I have 500 testimonials. Well, not 500. I have 150 testimonials that I showed my people before they I tell everybody, don't believe anything I'm saying. Watch these testimonials. And so that's the thing. LA is not a show me place. One of the things I will tell you, I don't know if you've ever lived in Vegas. No one's lying to you here. We told you how much the bottle was going to cost. We told you how much the table dance was going to cost. We told you how much dinner was going to cost. We told you how much you were going to, nobody told you were going to go to the blackjack table, you were going to win money. Right. Nobody lies to you in Vegas. In LA, girls have to look good on camera. In Vegas, they got to look good in person to work at these pools for $240,000 a year working at a pool. And so that's the difference here. Like, there's shallow people everywhere, but here, everyone is like, there's no falseness. You can't get on stage for Drake at XS because you pretended to have $100,000. You have to literally have $100,000 to get up there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I like this place better than LA. But we'll just go into some other stuff. So there were people that you had to cut out of your life. Was there an original, when you first moved here, was there like an original crew of people that you kind of realized these people were fronting and...
Yeah, I think you kind of come to terms with it after you notice there's no results.
There's no results.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say any names or anything, but I've just had the influx of people come in and out that say, because they know I'm a star. Like every room I walk into, like it doesn't matter who the fuck you are. Like I've had people like that of be like, Alus is a star. And like everybody knows it. But the thing is nobody wants to work. You know how Kim Kardashian's like, nobody wants to work. Everybody got mad at her because they're like, oh my God, Kim, we have to work now. But I'm just saying in the music industry, industry, like people will say things and then not necessarily come through. And I'm like, I'm the real deal, right? So like I've had this is getting personal, but I've had producers like be like, let's work on a project. And then like, I mean, I already have a situation, so I don't need that, but I just love to entertain things, right? I'm an entertainer, so I'll be like, okay.
The situation meaning you engineer your own music, you produce your own stuff.
Yeah.
You don't specifically need them, and you're coming from a place of abundance.
Right, exactly, but I agree with all of that. But also, I have like a project I'm working on with somebody that's going to come out like probably later this year.
Meaning you have the ability to walk away if they're bullshit,
because
right?
the situation I have is like that's like my home. Like that's like the people I work with are like my family, and like I love the people I work with, and it's people that have created.
I'm bringing all this up because there's other musical artists that are going to be watching this, right?
Yeah.
And I want them to understand the difference.
Yeah.
Is this person bullshitting with you? Do you have the ability to walk away if the terms of the deal are not in your favor?
Right.
Are you checking to see whether or not we talk about business on this podcast a lot too.
Yeah.
Are you checking to see whether or not you're getting the results they said, or are metrics being met, KPI?
Yeah.
Are these things happening? When they're not happening, are you so stuck because of a contract or because you don't know anyone else that you can't go anywhere else? But no, you already have music produced. You already know how to engineer your own music. Yeah. You already are an entrepreneur in that way. You probably could engineer other people's music. You're probably skilled enough to do that too.
Yeah.
and so in order to do that, now nobody can pin you down and say, no, you have to do this. Nobody owns you.
Right.
And so because of the abundance you have the ability to do that. That's the message I wanted to get across.
No, I definitely create from a place of abundance. I do believe in this. Part of my affirmations every day, actually. So definitely, I absolutely can confirm that I'm coming from a place of abundance. But like, that's why I'm so grateful for kind of having my little time in New Jersey where I was kind of like in my cave, so to speak, in my home studio. Like, you know, for many years I did like covers on YouTube and like mashups and just, you know, like writing every single day and writing songs, and like maybe some of them weren't the best, but then working on my pen and just keep working and working so that nobody can say like, oh, like we need to book studio time. Like, no, if I have an idea at like 3 a.m., I'm going to go record it myself right now. So I think when you're self-sufficient, you know, you can make
do
things
it in your own place. You're 3 a.m.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, whenever
I just recorded a module for my program last night, like 4:35 in the morning.
Period.
Because I just got back from the gym. I was like, it's time now.
Exactly. And when the impulse strikes, you got to go while it's hot. But yeah, like, so, you know, I don't, I mean, I always feel like as a star though, you do need a team, right? Because I feel like nobody makes it to the top alone. And I feel like you really, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to have other people on my team that have marketing ideas or have other great ideas, because some of these people have been here way longer than me and have, you know, created other stars with their expertise. So yeah, I think I've met people that are, you know, bullshitters, of course, like we just talked about, but then there's people that, you know, kind of just speak to your soul and you're like, oh yeah, you get me and I get you. And like, I feel like I vibe with you on a spiritual level, so much so that I can create art with you. And then that leads it to a place that can be very successful because it's coming from a place of, you know, from the vortex, as I don't know if you're into this stuff. You might be like, this girl's like crazy, but but from like the universe, from the place that is like the most egoless and just authentic and creative place. And it's like what we all have access to tap into, right? And so when you kind of create from that standpoint with people that share that same energy, it can only produce great results.
You read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that book.
And A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah, I love Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
But also just like The Divine Matrix or, you know, like books that talk about, and I know we said we kind of get into this, the quantum physics thing, just talking about like how you create your reality as opposed to you are a victim of your reality.
Sure.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, when you are kind of under that understanding with a certain group of people, it's like you found your tribe and you kind of like work together with that same notion in mind, and you just create from that place of abundance, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can create magic when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I no matter what kind of metaphor you use, because I legitimately don't believe you manifest anything. I think you have to, I think you have to work for it, right? I think the laws of physics don't allow.
They can combine, you know, but you still got to put in the work. It's not like you just like, okay, it's gonna, you know.
I think Mike Tyson trained a long time with Custom Auto and started hitting that bag really hard, and then when he got into the ring, I think he visualized beating people's ass.
But that's part of manifestation.
But I don't think like any sort of woo-woo energy came down and made him do that. I think that was the laws of physics, because the problem is this: Razor Ruddock also wanted to be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Riddick Bowe also wanted to be great. Buster Douglas also wanted to be great, but Mike Tyson was greater than them.
Right.
And it wasn't because they wanted it more. Mike wanted it more. It was Mike was a genetic, like he won the genetic lottery. This dude, all he threw was nuclear bombs. He didn't know how to jab. All he knew how was the KO. And so, like when you talk about Michael Jordan or stuff like that, it was manifestation. Like I do believe the greatest example for me. I don't know if you know who Michael Irvin is. He's a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys when they won 3 Super Bowls. He would say, when the quarterback would throw me the ball, it was a function of he knew where I was going to be. And I had visualized in the shower that morning, I knew where I was going to be. Okay,
That's it. The key
but I think manifestation is a metaphor. I like legitimately think he's psychologically training himself to know where to be. And there's nothing that defensive back will ever do to stop me from getting to that spot. Yeah. And then I'm going to be there. And Troy, the quarterback, he doesn't even have to see me. He just knows to put the ball there, and I'm going to be there. And hell or high water, nothing on this planet and no defensive back on this planet is going to stop me from getting to my spot and getting to that football. And so that's the way I look at it from that standpoint, because if you talk to Navy SEALs, they're not talking about manifestation. They're talking about obsession, and they're talking about determination, and they're talking about extreme ownership. But they're not talking about manifestation. Although I feel like it's a metaphor saying the same thing.
Right. So essentially, you're saying the same thing as maybe what I'm saying, but in just different words, right? Because for me, manifestation involves visualization as well as like it may be affirmations, maybe the way you know how you said he knew.
Yeah.
I just know things.
For sure.
I know shit's
but
gonna work.
There's psychology and science behind that.
But exactly, but that's why I love studying from a place of, like, I know we're going to talk about this, quantum physics, because it talks about how the energy, literally, it's energy, right? And you're creating from a place of energy. So, and everything is energy. So when you create, I know you're going to come for me right now because you have a degree, right?
I have a minor in astronomy, but yeah, if you have any questions about it, the thing is, quantum mechanics is literally the wave particle duality of subatomic particles.
Yeah.
And they're in superposition until you observe them, and then they collapse.
And then they collapse in a wave function.
Right.
Yes.
But the wave function collapses into a particle, like at one visible spot. Right. But the thing is, people mistake that for believing like my vision creates the energy. You can actually you can have the observer literally be like a machine that has no soul, and it still works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not a function of like the problem is people start. Quantum mechanics is so mysterious and so incredible, but it's also completely provable. There's more proof for quantum mechanics than there actually is for relativity. And so because we know these things to be true, the reason why, just not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but you can actually freeze, you can take subatomic particles and put them down near negative 273 degrees Celsius or 0 Kelvin, and you can actually see the superposition. It's really weird. You get them to almost a zero energy state, and you can see it. But these are all scientific terms.
Yeah,
like, we don't like the reason. Like this is an illusion of solid matter. Right. What happens is all my particles are in phase with each other, and so what's happened is there is no wave particle duality. It's just physical matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm
so we don't see it from that standpoint. But like the idea that like when we talk about string theory, M theory, or multiple universes or stuff like that, these are this is theory. Right. We don't have evidence for.
That's correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like the idea that I'm going to manifest stuff. The problem is like, whenever I hear that, I just think about like the people in Rwanda. 1 million people died in 100 days, and they didn't manifest that. Or the Polish kids in Poland in 1939 who were thrown into concentration camps. They didn't manifest that. I don't believe they didn't pray hard enough or they didn't meditate. Right. So that's why I don't believe in manifestation. I believe that you see a hole and you make a hole. You create it. And you said the right thing about a victim mentality. Yeah. If you just choose to not have a victim mentality, then you're going to be able to create these things that happen to you. But so many unfair things happen to people, and that's why I don't necessarily believe in manifestation.
Yeah, I get where you're coming. This has been a conversation like time and time again with like these teachers where it's like, well, did they manifest or whatever? But I mean, when I'm just strictly looking at myself right now, so I'm just thinking like, if I put the energy, because I've noticed that when I create from a place of like, abundance or energy or positive, like it's a difference than when you're creating from a place of sadness or 100%, lack or whatever. So there's something to be said about that, and when I like go within, I find that I get more results. So instead of like searching for the answers outside of me. So that's why I like love meditation, and I love, and I do like quantum leap meditations. And I know this is like a whole conversation that some people might be like, whoa, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, whatever.
But the other thing is, if it works for you, that's also fine.
Right.
Like
I'm not
going to by any means say that because I'm part of religion A, somebody who's part of religion religion be can't have any success.
Right.
Could
Because
you
we all
imagine?
have a different way, like Buddha,
Right.
Jesus,
Yeah, but-
whatever you study, whatever your thing is.
Just imagine if there were like 4 major religions on the planet, and one of them, if you believe this religion, you could fly, and we saw all the people in that religion start flying, we'd all convert to that religion, right? That's the way it works. The thing is with religious beliefs or anything like this, if it's helping you perform, then that's totally fine, right?
Right.
But like for me, like I happen to be a Christian. My belief in the resurrection is because of faith, not because of evidence, right? I was not doubting Thomas. I did not see the spikes go through Jesus' hands. So I only choose to do it through evidence. And that's the other thing, like with quantum mechanics is there's evidence behind that. Relativity, there's evidence behind it.
Right.
But when people talk about astrology, numerology, there's no evidence behind it.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so that's where the difference comes. And then you take it one step further, and now you're like, okay, now I believe in this. Now let me help you understand that the earth is also flat and that birds aren't real and that reptile people live under Antarctica.
The conspiracy
right, but
theorists.
now we go, but it keeps going. But the problem is, if you believe in astrology, the likelihood of you believing in a conspiracy theory, there's studies on this. It's just higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, sure.
And then you get to a point where you have, I love Grant Cardone, but you have Grant Cardone and Tom Cruise that turn into Scientologists, and like and they believe the entire psychiatric field is all hokum, and you just go down this path. You see what I'm saying?
I do see. I know that's why you got to be careful, kind of like who you have this discussion with,
Yeah.
because some people just can go down a rabbit hole. I mean, I just love to come for myself. I love to come from a place of positivity and light and love, and I just want it to feel like be a good feeling, because
Sure.
when I'm creating from that space, it just creates like greatness for me. So I mean, I don't really this is something I kind of like have with myself. It's like my relationship with myself, you
Sure.
know? So I don't really go into like groups and have these discussions, so
Yeah.
to speak, you know? And I'm very careful to, even speaking on here, I'm like, oh my God, someone's going to say something, you know, because
Yeah.
there's always somebody. But at the end of the day,
Hey,
it's
listen,
like, if it works for you, it works
you want
for
them
you.
to. You
Right.
want them to. Like,
Right.
like what's the girl's name? Jessica Simpson, when she was talking about it's the chicken of the sea, but I didn't think it was chicken. You remember that a long time ago?
Yeah.
She got more famous because of that.
Right, period.
Like Jordan Belfort got more famous for going to jail for 15 months for securities fraud. So like I wouldn't worry about it. Anything you say, you're gonna
Yeah,
be
it doesn't
fine.
matter. Whatever. I mean, if it works for me, it works for
Yeah.
me. I'm not spreading any hate. So, you know, I'm in a good place.
And the reason why I honestly, it's just my hypothesis, why you're successful is because you don't choose a victim mentality no matter what. Conspiracy theories are based on victimhood. Always. The world, the Illuminati is out to get me. George Soros is eating babies and he's out to get me. You
Oh
understand
my
what I'm saying?
God, yeah.
That's how they're always based on that. People with positive attitudes, doesn't matter what they believe. The fact of the matter is, and it doesn't matter if you ever know, because quantum mechanics have nothing to do with you being able to sing. Your ability as a
Yeah.
performer, that's all that matters, right? Your
Right.
ability to perform. And so that's the other thing that makes it so well. The other thing is like, you didn't grow up famous.
No.
Have you ever met like super rich people who used to be poor? They're so different from rich people who are always rich. They're so different.
Tell me the difference you've noticed.
So my friend, he probably doesn't want me to say this. So the guy who created the show Full House, do you remember the show
Yeah,
Full
yeah,
House?
yeah.
His name Jeff Franklin. Jeff is a buddy of mine. Jeff used to be just a poor PA working out on TV shows. He worked on several different TV shows. And then he created Full House and made millions of dollars. Like a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I stayed at his fourth house the other day.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And when you talk to Jeff, he's just a cool dude from New York who takes care of dogs. But he's so outrageously wealthy and like so famous. But
Yeah.
he does, because you can tell he used to not be that way.
Yeah.
Then I have some friends that like were literally wealthy, went to a top tier school, at the top tier school, then made more money as like a .com person.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't tell them anything. Like
Yeah.
the world exists.
A little bit
They're-
more one-sided,
It's almost like a guy who's 7 feet tall is like, yeah, just become 7 feet tall like me. Why doesn't everyone become 7 feet tall? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's more like solipsistic. So that's what I've seen as far as the difference.
Interesting. I love that perspective. It's funny that you mentioned this. It's funny this is even coming up, because when I was meditating the other day, I kind of came to that conclusion about myself. Like, I was thinking like maybe the reason that I didn't become a super child star or something, because, you know, I was always like auditioning and doing things because I always knew I was going to end up, you know, being an artist one way or another. But I always kind of thought like maybe because I had to experience like pre-success, and that kind of like, you know, everybody has to go through their struggle. And I think it makes me personally appreciate it more than somebody who maybe was like born out of nepotism or whatever it is. And nothing wrong with that. I'm sure there's
There's nothing wrong with
people.
that. It's just,
Yeah.
you just don't have that perspective.
Yeah, I definitely don't, you know, like even though my family, you know, I come from DNA for sure that, you know, is very musically inclined. It's not like, you know, one of my parents was like a famous artist or anything like that, you know, like if anything, I'm the first in my family to ever even get this close. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's like very exciting for everybody, but it makes you really appreciate the journey so much more because you're not sitting here just like getting, you know, a silver spoon in your mouth and just, and I think I almost, you know, sometimes you look at your life and we've all kind of gone through those moments like, man, if only my mom was Mariah Carey or whatever, you know, because of course it would have been easier. But then you go, you know, actually looking at it now, I really am grateful. And it's like, it humbles you.
Yeah, the struggle makes you great. I
Yeah.
feel sorry for Bronny. You know who Bronny is? LeBron James' son. He's 18 years old. He's about to get drafted in the NBA.
Oh, really? Mhm.
And LeBron James says, I'm going to play 1 year with my son on whatever team he plays. And no matter what, like LeBron's 6'9", his son's 6'3", and like no matter what happens, he's not going to be able to live up to his dad. It makes it harder for him.
Right.
You almost wish if he wasn't Bronny James, you know, he's going to have all this pressure on him, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the kid's in high school making $7 million a year already from like NIL deals, and like his whole life is already sort of set for him. He can't decide one day. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to become a cardiologist, Dad. Like you're going to play shooting guard, and that's it. You
Right,
know?
right.
So that kind of makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
My question for you is, something we ask because this is an evolutionary psychology podcast. The men that you would date, or just in general, you don't have to talk about yourself specifically in New Jersey versus Los Angeles. What was that scene like there? Did you leave someone behind in New Jersey when you moved to Los Angeles?
So I had been single for a very long time. So I'm not necessarily leaving anybody behind except for all of the men who had wanted me. But no, I mean, Jersey's different than LA. You know, people are a little bit more materialistic in LA. You know what I'm saying? Like in Jersey, it's like you got freaking union workers. You know what I'm saying? Or like normal.
They work at the Port
people.
Authority. Yeah,
like
taxi drivers.
Good for you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong
Yeah.
with that because that's make a living, baby. Do what you got to do. But it's just a different type of person. And I mean, I don't know of the type of men I would date. I just want to be happy. I mean, as long as I've just come to the conclusion that as long as I'm happy and as long as I'm still great and still thriving and still moving forward and progressing and evolving and growing as a human, and anybody that comes into that circle, whether it's a friend, a boyfriend, somebody that I marry one day, they have to be conducive to that that mentality. That's just what I would need. But
the mentality
I
for
don't
you
know.
to succeed in your career.
But I would collectively want us
For
to
sure.
succeed, you know, as well. It's not just like a me thing, but I just mean like that's a place because when you love yourself so much,
yeah.
you know, like you can only attract somebody that's gonna, you know, like
Yeah.
that's when it's right. So I really learned to love myself and like nurture that relationship with myself. So I don't necessarily. I haven't met the person that I think because I love myself so much. I'm not going to sacrifice.
Listen, nobody. Yeah, you don't
You know?
do your thing, girl. You're on the way up. If you want to be single, be single. My question was, hypothetically, would a man that might have a shot with a lust, would he be in the industry? Would you say no way he's in the industry? No way I'm going to date a DJ. No way I'm going to date a host for here. Yes, I'm going to date. I would like to date this guy. No, I would like to date. Do you have any set standards? Do you have a list?
Okay, so. Well, never say never. I just don't want to close anything off because you know, I've thought about this and I've said like, I can't date anybody in the music industry because then it becomes very like, it can be competitive. It could be, there's so many different things that it could be. But I never want to say never because, you know, you're kind of blocking that off from your field of view, right? Because what if that person that comes in is like amazing for you and like actually like teaches you so much so I'm open. I'm just open. I feel like if the person, I just feel like I would hope that they have found themselves before they find me. I don't want them to need me. I want them to want me, you know? And I also feel like you have to have something else going on outside of me. Like I'm not your meal ticket, baby. So yeah, I mean, I'm open.
You don't have any bad LA date experiences?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, there we go. Got it. All right. Got you. All right. So now let's talk about this. You, some of the venues that you've performed at. So you said you never had stage fright from a little kid.
No, I mean, maybe like in the 5th grade, maybe my first time on stage. I don't know. I don't really remember that far back as far as like being nervous. If anything, it's more like an adrenaline that kind of excites you when you get on stage. Like you're just like, let's go. Like I'm ready to go, you know? And I feel like being on stage is like one of the places I feel most alive, honestly. There and also in the studio when I'm writing, kind of like when I'm vibing with myself, I feel like I'm just like at a different level.
I think could it be also because you're competent? You know you're going to kill it. Like, have you heard Dave Chappelle be like, every time I go on stage, I'm hilarious. It's like,
Right.
I'm always funny. He's like,
Right.
ever since I started, when I was 15 years old, every room I go into, I just destroy it. This is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he knows he's
Yeah.
competent.
Yeah.
When I was on flight status, my first tour to Iraq and Afghanistan, I remember knowing exactly after about the third or fourth flight, being so excited to go fly because I knew what I was doing.
Right. It's different when you go in with that level of confidence. And I think that has a lot to do with preparation. Like, how much did you prepare that you feel confident enough to stand on that stage and like do your thing, you know? So I'm always prepared. I'm never not prepared. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I always feel confident and I always love to do it. And I also feel like it's entertaining. I want to connect with people. I mean, you know, like this is a chance for me to bond with the people that listen to the music. So I love to do it and it makes me happy. And I don't get nervous. I kind of just more feel like an adrenaline kind of like high, you know?
Are there any favorite venues that you've performed at?
I've sang at Madison Square Garden. I've done the anthem there many times, and it's sold out.
Knicks
crowds.
Games or something like that?
We've done like
concerts?
boxing. I've done like
Oh,
the
cool.
zone. I've done like I've done like basketball games. I've done yeah. I think that's very exciting to hear like a whole like stadium of people or arena of people be like screaming for you at the end. It's like that gives me like a high. So I love it, but I gotta like tour with my records there. So yeah. Yeah.
Not actual names, but which teams have the most guys who slide in your DMs?
Oh, I don't know because I don't know the team. I don't know the team.
I have a friend of mine. That's all she does. Like she literally will message. So let's say the Dodgers are playing like the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
She'll like a picture on the opposing team's like disabled list, like some of the guys, and they immediately like, hey, I have my friends. Can we go to the game? And they'll send her tickets.
Oh my God.
She keeps track of all of it.
The hustle is real.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't really know much about, the team. So, but I could definitely make a whole new team with the DMs.
With the ones DMs?
Yeah.
Do you obviously I'm not gonna ask you to give names. Do you ever get DMs and you're like, damn, like really this person's messaging me? Like
damn as in good or bad?
good or bad?
Oh yeah. I had a DM from somebody really, really famous like recently. And I was like, they know who I am.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. It's cool, but I don't really care to partake because at the end of the day, like unless it's about work, I'm just like,
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like how many girls' DMs are you sliding into? Not my business. Keep doing your thing, but okay, bye. I don't know. I'm not really like.
Have you ever had one where it was like deliberately you like knew the dude was married? Like it went damn and bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I don't know why they do it because they can get. It's very easy to get caught, but I guess they just assume like, what is this, like a confidentiality thing?
It's easy. Hold on, it's easy for them to get caught, and it's easy for you to get caught up. Because what happens is like now you're on the yacht, like you have a boyfriend, but you're on the yacht with Drake in Saint Tropez, and they're like, wait, but it's what I thought you were with. You had a boyfriend. What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? And like nobody. It is one of the other problems is like when you're a celebrity, nobody, not you specifically, but like when you're with a celebrity out in public, no one thinks you aren't sleeping with them. Like that, they just immediately go to that. So you already put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, there was this like one really famous like basketball player that was like with a really famous model, and he like DM'd me and like started talking to me and like inviting me to things, and like I don't really keep up with the news, but I had seen like literally an article because I know who the model is.
So
know the girls.
What month did Tristan Thompson message
No,
you?
it was not. No, absolutely not. No. It was not that. It was not him at all.
When did Kyrie Irving hit you up? When was this?
No. It was none of those.
Okay.
But like it was somebody that was really known, and just I don't know even them. Like I don't really watch their sports, but I know the girl because we all know the girl.
Yeah.
And so I've seen articles with the girl and saying that they're in a relationship, and I'm just like, oh my God, this man is in my DMs.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy. And I never even hung out with him or anything. Like you can't find a pit, nothing. Like because I just am like, ew. Like I guess you're going around doing this with. I guess it's just what they do. I mean they have these like secret relationships.
Sometimes they're secret, sometimes they're not. I don't know if you saw what happened with Jason Derulo. His wife just eventually left him, but they had a very clear understanding that he was going to be with other women. No. And then eventually she got to the point where she's like, I can't do this anymore. And it was like, and everyone in the comments sort of turned on her. They were like, you were fully aware that he was doing this, and the fact that you're going to take his kids away from him. Now, again, I can see things from both standpoints, but a lot of times they're just honest about it. You know what I'm saying? And then this same thing happens.
When did that happen? I mean, that's
maybe a year ago.
So
look up the Jason Derulo one.
So she agreed that he could be with other women.
They were fully aware that he was with other women
before they
got married. Yes.
And she agreed to that. And
I mean,
still married him?
It's Jason fucking Derulo. Yes, she was fully aware. It's like you're marrying Future.
But there's just got to be a time where you just put it down. You know what I mean?
Do you want to have this discussion? Because I don't think there is. I think men are as faithful as their options. I do.
I can see that. I guess it just depends. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Because
Whatever your standards are, your standards, and no one should lie to you.
Right.
No one should lie to you.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, like, this idea that, like, some men are just not going to be monogamous, and in that situation, if they're open about it and honest about it, there's some women are like, I'm fine with this, and some women are not.
Yeah.
No one complained when Derek Jeter, you obviously know who Jeter is,
Yeah.
was sleeping with Jessica Biel, Jessica Alba, and Mariah Carey. No one complained because he wasn't married. And no one cared. And because Derek Jeter was Derek Jeter,
Yeah.
no one gave a shit. No one thought, I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
Why don't you settle down with one of them? When are you going to get tired of fucking these supermodels, Derek Jeter?
That's the
no one
issue,
said that.
though, because how come guys can do that, but then when a girl does it, she's a hoe?
Welcome to the Michael Sartain podcast.
Okay, period.
So she's not. So it's not that she's a host. So we'll back it up. None of this is my opinion. We're going to start with that book right there, which is the Evolutionary Psychology textbook by Dr. David Buss. He has a PhD from Berkeley.
I have a friend that recommended. I have that book.
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
So he is a PhD. Now the book you were probably recommended was The Evolution of Desire. That's actually his textbook from UT Austin.
I know.
Okay.
I have the textbook.
Oh, okay, very good.
I literally have the
Nice,
textbook.
nice.
Yeah. I opened up and was like, what am I doing?
Okay, so Dr. Buss, he did a study back in 1989. It's been replicated since then, and there were 37 different cultures, and these cultures have nothing to do with each other. We're talking about Yamamamo tribe. We're talking about people who live in the Aboriginal people who live in the middle of Australia. They have no radio, they have no television, they have no film, they have no print work, they have no internet. And in '89, there was no internet. So like we have societies that are completely separate from each other. What happened was, behavioral psychologists believed what we would find is that men and women would be different in different societies. What evolutionary psychologists believed is that they would be exactly the same because their proclivities came from genetics. Does that make sense? And what do you think happened?
Oh, that's
It's kind of a trick question because the book's right behind you.
So I know, but wait. So you're telling me that they still were? So they're telling me that they were still not faithful, even?
No, it's not faithful. Faithful. A man's choice to be faithful has to do with honesty.
Yeah.
Okay? There's proclivity and there's behavior.
Yeah.
A man wanting to sleep with multiple women doesn't mean he does.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Right. Because
Okay.
it's all about what you actually do, right?
For sure,
So
for sure. And then another man who may actually want a committed relationship just has so many options with other women that he just doesn't get into one. And we can go into explain. That would be like the Leonardo DiCaprio or the George Clooney with multiple women. Again, nobody complained when Clooney was with multiple women.
Right.
They complain when the guy down the street cheats on his wife. That's horrible. But when Clooney, Hugh Hefner, Bilzerian, or Derek Jeter does it, no one cares.
Yeah.
When Tiger Woods cheats on his wife, he's a liar. Now we care again. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's the difference. There's cheating and lying. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Or there's being non-faithful in lying. Cheating would be lying, right?
Right.
Okay. So in the study, it's 37 culture study. If we go through all 37 cultures, in all 37 cultures, men were more interested in casual sex than women. It wasn't a cultural thing. It was a genetic thing. Okay.
Oh.
Women were always interested in men who were taller than them. In all 37 cultures, men preferred a hip to waist ratio of 0.72. Women preferred a shoulder to waist ratio in men of 1.65 to 1.
Interesting.
In all these cultures, yes. In all of these cultures, in every single one of them, when women were asked, do you care about how many women a man has slept with, very, very little attribution was given to that. And they said, do you think it's strange if a man is in his mid-20s and is a virgin? And all of them said, yes, that is strange. When the contrapositive was asked, when they asked the opposite to the men, do you care about how many men a woman has slept with? All of them said yes, in all 37 cultures.
It's a double standard.
No, we're not saying it's not a double standard. I'm just explaining to you that the
Yeah.
double standard exists
Yeah.
because of genetics and not because of culture. 100% it's a double standard.
Interesting.
That's why I can bench press 350 and you can't. There's a
Right,
double standard.
right.
Men have 17 times as much testosterone
Oh, who
as
said
women.
I can't bench press that much?
350?
I don't know.
I'm super
I don't-
excited
No,
to-
I don't think I can.
Yeah,
bench
okay,
it.
all right. No,
But
I would be.
It's a lot, though.
I would stop and we would make a TikTok video of you benching 350. I would do anything. I would be so happy. We
No.
should do one with just fake weights and just
Right,
have you
just
bench
like a-
350.
like a
I'd be like, I
float.
can't even lift this. What the fuck is this? She's out benching me. So the point is, the point is, I'm not saying you're wrong, but evolutionary psychology, just like physics is not a discussion of morality. Physics is a discussion of what is or isn't.
Right.
Evolutionary psychology is a discussion of what is or isn't. It's not a function of morality.
Right.
The reality of the situation is you belong to a species. There used to be 20 species of hominid on this planet, and we killed the other 19. We ate them. We killed them. We are
The
most.
amoebas.
We are the most violent species that has ever existed on this planet. Now, you and I live in a world where we get 3 square meals a day. We can call our friends. We get bathtubs, and
We're a little more
and
civilized.
We're civilized,
Yeah.
but we're civilized because I know through socialization, you're not going to rob me. You're not going to steal
Right.
from me. I'm protected. There's a police force. I understand
Yeah.
the original Magna Carta, which is man creating a coalition with other man. We understand that's how civilization is created. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors weren't like that.
Right.
So you know what sociopaths are, right?
Yes.
How does something as horrible as that exist? And the answer is
Genetics.
Is genetics. Well, the
Yeah.
answer correct. So sociopathy normally distributes throughout every population. So why would something like that exist? And the answer is because there had to be someone in the tribe who's willing to sneak into another tribe and bash everybody's heads in the
Right.
middle of the night and not have nightmares about it.
Yeah.
And you say, today, it's a complete evolutionary mismatch. We don't need sociopaths now, but
Right.
we needed them back then, and that's why they still exist. Does that make sense?
Exactly. So you can have a predisposition to a certain genetic, trait.
Correct.
Because of your ancestors.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if all 37 of these cultures where men cared more about a woman's body count than women cared about men, and in fact, there were certain differences. Like for instance, virginity is one where they're a great difference. In Poland, Sweden, Finland, and Norway, virginity was not really. It was strange for a woman to be a virgin in her mid-20s. In China, women had to be virgins. It was very, and even that sort of changed. But in certain countries, Middle Eastern countries, virginity for women was very much important. In the United States, absolutely not important at all. Does that make sense? That changed. But overall, men cared more about how many men cared more about how many men a woman had slept with than the vice versa.
Right.
And in fact, when women
Right.
were surveyed, they thought it was strange if a man had very little sexual experience whatsoever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is it a
Yeah.
double standard? No one's arguing with you that it's not a double standard.
Yeah.
But again, if you and I were to join the police force, you understand I have to do more push-ups than you.
Right.
There already is a double standard when it comes to us like joining different forces.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't even think that's the issue. I think it comes down to the issue when you look at if we're talking about cheating or whatever, right? Because it's like, okay, if you have a body count, okay, that could have been in your past. But if you're with somebody now and then they're with XYZ at the same time.
Hold on, but when you say somebody, we have to say a male somebody or a female somebody because it is different. So I'll give you another study. Really great. His most recent book is called When Men Behave Badly. And in the book, he talks about when men cheat in a relationship and when women cheat. When men cheat and men who don't cheat, they report the same level of satisfaction in a marriage. Men who are cheating on their wives still love their wives. There is no correlation between cheating and loving on your wife.
Yeah.
When women cheat, 78% of the time they report lower satisfaction in the marriage when they cheat versus when they don't.
Because it's an emotional type of a thing.
And 83% of the time, women fall in love with their affair partner.
I could see that.
For
sure.
men, it's like 12%.
There's also something that happens when you're having sex with somebody where you release a certain chemical as a female.
For sure.
That can make you a little bit more, get you more hooked.
I
think it's oxytocin.
Oxytocin. I got another one for you.
Yeah.
Women are more likely to get pregnant by their affair partners than they are by their husband.
Jesus.
There's a book by Satoshi Kanazawa and David Allen called Why Beautiful People Have More Daughters. And they go, these are like super like morally ethical, morally questionable studies that they do.
Yeah.
Basically on stuff like, man, I didn't expect to go this far, but like stuff like women who go through puberty earlier, generally like when the father leaves the household of a girl, she tends to go through puberty earlier and they tend to be shorter. It's crazy. They do studies on this.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's an adaptation for her to try to find another man in her life as soon as possible. It's crazy stuff like that. But when you talk about things like that and I can show the numbers, people get canceled for this even though there's science behind it.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I mean, if there's a study behind it and it makes sense and there's numbers, that's interesting. That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
know that.
whether or not society would call you a hoe, that's up to society. Fuck society. That's not really important.
Yeah.
The question you need to ask is like, why is this happening? And also,
Yeah.
here's the other thing: the biggest misogynists I've ever met in my life. Do you know who they are?
Who?
Women. Women.
Well, some guys are
I
act
agree.
worse than women.
Oh, no,
I will say that.
I agree with you, but those dudes still simp. They're just fronting. That's a cope. Dudes will talk shit about women as a cope. We had this one girl going Fresh and Fit. She's sitting there talking about her OnlyFans, and the comments are like 3 or 4 calling her a hoe the whole time. She gained 2,000 subscribers on her OnlyFans from going on the show. Think about that. They're calling her a hoe and subscribing to her OnlyFans.
Right, but
that's a cope.
That's always the thing that happens is like men or even just society, they want to put you down, but then at the same time, they're going to watch every move you make because it's like there's an entertainment factor. There's also just a factor of like, we want to tear down whatever's successful because there's a element of maybe jealousy, envious, there's a lot of different things that play into that. But yeah, I mean, sometimes guys are just sometimes worse.
No,
I think.
I'm not telling you. I completely agree that men are misogynists. My point is the biggest misogynists I've ever met are women. Like when I meet guys, they're like, they'll see a pretty girl and they're like, give her a chance. Like, oh, she seems really nice. I know girls, they'll see a pretty girl and like whore, like immediately she's a whore.
Yeah,
okay, I see that,
not nice.
that frequently because here's the thing. It's an evolutionary adaptation for men to compete with other men, and it's an evolutionary adaptation for women to denigrate other women sometimes. Like stay away from that girl, she's a slut. That is something women tend to say more than men. Men rarely tell their guy friends, stay away from that girl because she's a slut.
But I feel like it depends how evolved you are, because if you're confident within yourself, there's really no reason to put anybody else down.
No, I agree with you. We're talking in general. This is like a population level study.
Yeah. That's interesting.
There's another book called Why Women Have Sex by Cindy Meston and David Buss, both of UT Austin. And one of the chapters, they actually talk about women wanting to have sex with men because they want to stop their friends from having this is not maybe something you've never experienced, but living in Las Vegas, there's constantly the bachelorette party that comes here.
Oh yeah.
The guy comes up and talks to the prettiest girl in the bachelorette party, and it's usually the girl who's not the prettiest who stops and says, "No, we're leaving together." Oh. She doesn't want to talk. She's like,
I feel like I've seen a movie like that or something. You know?
She's the hen, right?
Yeah.
But because from her standpoint, it doesn't make sense from an evolutionary standpoint for her prettiest friend to always get the hottest guy. So she needs to create some level of chaos so she can sometimes get the hottest guy, or the prettiest girl doesn't always get the hottest guy. Because you probably, just something maybe you've experienced, you have some friends who maybe aren't as pretty as you. It doesn't, the amount of attention your friends get, the amount of attention your friends get does not normally distribute. The hottest girl gets all the attention. The next hottest girl gets a little. And then once you get down to the bottom, this girl doesn't hardly get any. And that makes people feel bad when you go out in groups for bachelorette parties and etc. Because everybody wants attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is why you always have to have a homeboy who will jump on the grenade. That's the reason why. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. I didn't mean any of that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any of that. That was terrible. But yeah, that, from an evolutionary standpoint, but the double standard, if you want to know, that's the reason why. The other problem is this, right? And again, this goes back to science. For women, as they have more and more sexual partners, the likelihood of them staying in a marriage dissipates. So what happens is they do studies after people have been married for 10 years. They generally start with women who are about 28 years old and have been married for at least 10 years, okay? And then they try to see how likely are they to stay in the marriage based on the number of previous sexual partners before they got married. And once we get to like 20 sexual partners for women, it's like a 17% chance of them staying in a marriage. For men, the correlation is almost zero. Men can have 300 sexual partners or 10, and the likelihood of them staying in the marriage is the same.
I feel like it just has something to do with that element of like the emotional aspect. Like men don't look at sex as an emotional
Why do you
connection.
think that is?
Well, I mean, we do know that oxytocin's released when a female has sex.
Men get oxytocin too, but why do you think for men it's different? What would be your guess?
Don't we release a high? I mean, we've got to be releasing a higher amount, because I've been in that situation where I'm like, am I in love? But the sex was just great, you know? And like that could be the situation, and then you sit back and you go, I do not love that person.
but you can also see how a woman would go through that several times and after a while quickly discern that I'm not in love.
Right.
And then so now she can't imprint with a dude who like she may have actually needed to be in love with. Now, here's the other issue. Why is it different? Because for us as men, the cavemen, the risk that we take by having sex with the wrong woman is kind of nothing. We're passing through a town, you know, us and our me and my band of raiders with Genghis Khan, or Kulia Khan. We're just running through like in the 1300s.
Yeah.
If I have sex with the wrong woman, fuck it, I'm fine. Yeah. If she has sex with the wrong guy, she dies. She's ostracized from the tribe. Women are more picky than men. If women weren't more picky than men, we'd still all be living in caves. Right? Men have throughout history understood that women hold this level of pickiness, and throughout history, men have competed with other men for access to those women. And this is one of the reasons why, like, there's a huge evolutionary mismatch. Like, for instance, height. Women, maybe not you, but a lot of women are so obsessed with height. Where would that come from? And that would be like, from an evolutionary standpoint, from an adaptation standpoint, which man in here, in this group of this tribe, is like the strongest, the tallest, the guy, the one who is able to commit the most amount of violence on my behalf to protect me and my offspring. Right, who's
going to be my protector.
Exactly right. Yeah. And so what's happened is, reality, Jeff Bezos can provide way more for you than the tall guy. But the mismatch is there where you're still obsessed with height. Right. Men have the same problem. Like, breast implants have no utility whatsoever, and dudes are obsessed with them. Because why? Because the caveman saw breasts like that as fertility, signs of fertility.
Right.
Makes
When
sense?
you had like more fat on your body, it was like you're more healthy or
Correct.
whatever it is. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. I've heard of those things.
So you understand how like there's this caveman instinct that's in there.
Right. It's still there. Like
It's still there.
even
There you go.
Even through evolution. Yeah, I agree with that.
The other thing, the understanding is that it's still there.
Yeah.
There's a thing called Dunbar's numbers, an archaeologist, and basically he came up with this idea that tribes would be about 150 people. Once they got to 200, they would split into two tribes of 100. You'll find the same thing with military units. Your brain can really only handle about 150 faces. After that, you remember these people you went to high school with, but you don't exactly remember their face.
Right.
But if you saw them again, then they would pop in and another person would pop out of your Dunbar number.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Interesting.
So now I get on Instagram and now my Dunbar's number is fucked because I see every hot girl who's airbrushed and looks perfect on there. And then as a woman, I'm not saying you specifically, but as a woman, every dude on there has a Lambo 6-pack abs and is 6'3". Every dude on there makes a minimum of 500K. And so you start believing that's what the world is.
Right.
And so now we get delusional expectations. Whereas my Dunbar's number was a realistic expectation of who I could date within my 150 person community.
Right.
Now I'm looking at the world and now everyone thinks they can date Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm sure you've heard the stories. Leonardo DiCaprio, like he'll have a guy like sneak into girls' DMs and he's just like fucking girls with his headphones on, like not paying any attention to them.
Wait, what? No,
Dude,
I have not heard the stories.
When you get back to LA, ask people about these stories.
What happened?
Leo, he like just runs through all these chicks. He like ends up banging all these girls, right? And he does this thing with the fucking, he'll have headphones on while he's having sex with her, like listening to music or whatever. And he does this over and over again. And like the problem is what'll happen.
So he has sex with the headphones on, and then what he DM? Wait, what does he do with the DM?
I don't know. Someone else finds the girls for him. I don't know.
So somebody's like is like scouting women for him.
I know some promoters who've actually done it for him. Yeah.
And then what happens? What's with the headphone? I'm confused. What is the correlation?
He just doesn't give a fuck about the girls.
So he just where he listens to music and has sex with them at the same time.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck about the girls. He's just trying to have sex.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean he's probably super jaded. I mean, but here's the thing. Why? Like you know the whole thing about women under 25 dating Leonardo DiCaprio, then he breaks
I heard
up
about
with
that. Yeah, I've seen that on TikTok.
Yeah, but the problem is like, why do the girls keep dating him? Stop dating him. Stop dating him then.
I mean, they're gonna keep going. He's Leonardo DiCaprio.
You understand that, right?
I understand that.
They just stop dating him.
Yeah,
but they don't stop dating him. And then the women are like, I'm so mad at you, Leo. And I'm like, no, the girls. Stop dating them.
That's so sad. When I was growing up, I had a crush on him. But you know, like when you see things on TikTok and online and stuff, you go, this is a different person than who I saw in Titanic.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's why he's such a great actor, is because he could put that whole thing on.
Yeah.
But the point, like I've heard the same thing about Drake. Like Drake will, like there's rumors. Again, these are rumors. I don't know if they're true. I've just heard from multiple people allegedly that these things are the case. Like these guys just don't care. They really just fuck girls and they kick them out, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it works. And so when you see this kind of behavior and you just come to the realization, you're like, well, these men are doing this and women are still like going on and doing it. What happens is, I've seen this happen so many times, and maybe you've had some friends have this happen to you. They sleep with a big DJ or an athlete or an actor, and they start believing that is their baseline for who they're going to date.
Oh yeah, sure.
You've seen this,
yeah.
And what happens is now they have this unrealistic expectation because they don't realize that there's one of him and there's millions of these girls. And they start. I've had absolutely girls come to me and say, "Yeah, I was dating so and so," and I'm like, no, you weren't. Yeah. I literally know this dude's girl. Like I know him. I was at his house with his girlfriend. You are not dating him.
Yeah.
You get to fuck him every once in a while when he's not busy. And the problem is, here's what happens. The next guy who comes along has to live to that standard. Mm-hmm. And she's in this relationship with this new guy. And then like superstar guy calls her and she's up here. You see what I'm saying?
Because she's just like, fuck this. Yeah.
Because her dopamine and oxytocin settings are so auto-kilter now that she can't get that same oxytocin hit because she fucked Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So the whole hoe, not a hoe. No, it's what happens is for men, we don't imprint. We just like, if a woman is famous and hot or not famous and hot, we still think she's hot. For women, because status plays such a huge part in it, a lot of times they'll get to the point where they've imprinted with so many men, they can't imprint with the man that they're supposed to be with. And then as soon as something goes wrong, they're out. And 78% of divorces are initiated by women.
Right. So then when does a guy choose to be with what is the science behind a guy actually falling in love and actually choosing his person, right? Because if there's so many of women, like so many women that they have options from, right? If that's the case, right? So then how do they determine, okay, this is the person that I'm going to build my life with?
So here's where it gets difficult, right? Because you're a professional. You're really good at your job, right? Mm-hmm. The thing that men, when I talk to like really high status men, we're talking high earners, they do really well. They want peace first off. They want loyalty, and they want someone who's going to help build an empire.
Yeah.
I explained this very clearly. When I started dating my girlfriend, it was one of these issues where I was like, this is the thing. Like, nothing gets in the way of me turning this company to 8 figures a year.
Right,
Nothing.
right.
I want you to be a part of this. I'm not trying to keep my company here and then you separate. I want you to be involved in every single thing I'm doing. But you need to ask yourself, is this getting us closer to our goal, or is this drama pulling us away from our goal?
Right.
If it's pulling us away from our goal, then this relationship isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot, when I meet men who are like that. So consider Alex Hormozy and Layla Hormozy. Great example. Both of them heavily into fitness. Now Layla has her own coaching program along with Alex. They support each other. They would never ever embarrass each other in public.
Right.
You're never going to see Layla falling around drunk or anything like that in public.
Yeah.
They're always going to compliment one another. When they
Right.
don't compliment each other, like Melinda and Bill Gates, then they get divorced. Right? Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos and his wife, then they get divorced.
An expensive divorce.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the difference. When I ask these guys who they want and what it is, number one, does she bring me peace? Is there a loyalty, and does she help me follow along with my purpose?
Ooh,
Okay,
that's fascinating.
So
I can agree
that's
with
it.
that because I've seen very successful men kind of just choose like, and then there's always this debate about women saying like, why does the successful man choose like a girl that is just like the bottle girl? I don't know, like,
Yeah.
and I mean, nothing wrong with her being
It's,
a bottle
it's
girl,
because
but
she's attractive and looks younger. It's not because she's a bottle girl.
okay, no, I'm just saying like the whole idea of if you're a very rich, successful man, how come you're choosing somebody that's in a different, in a lower
Socioeconomic
status?
class, yeah.
Correct. So, that's always like the debate, right? It's like we always see, because I've seen women complain about this, like, you can literally, like, if you're Drake, you can literally, like, be with an A-list actor, but why are you out here with, like, the girl that you found on Instagram or whatever, And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that because
Yeah.
she's probably a nice girl, but that's always like the
It's
thing.
because she's a nice girl. It's
yeah.
because she's a nice girl.
But also, like, when they settle down with somebody of lesser, whatever, socioeconomical, like, background, right? It could be because, like, maybe they're just at peace. Maybe they're just like, okay, you're not going to get in my way. Maybe you're...
How about this? Instead of getting in my way, like, you understand that if you start dating a guy, your net worth is not a consideration for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Unless it's a
different.
male stripper who has a sugar mama. My consideration of my girlfriend's net worth is never a consideration.
Yeah.
But hers consideration of mine has to be. It just fucking has to be. And that is
Right.
another double standard.
Right. I agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We see that a lot, right? Like men kind of being with like a
So your money is your money and my money is our money. That's why it's different. And that's why
Right.
socioeconomic status doesn't matter as much for men as it does for women.
Yeah.
And frequently you'll see this, again, this is in the book, Why Beautiful People Have More Daughters.
Yeah.
It's because daughters can marry up in caste systems. The term for marrying up into a higher caste level, a higher status, is literally called hypergamy or hypergamy. That's where it comes from. And so the idea that really attractive women can become the fairy princess. They can become the princess, right?
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
can become Cinderella. But the really attractive man cannot.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way for the really attractive man, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Ooh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, this is all we talk about.
A lot of interesting topics here, yeah. And that's why I always like going into something blindly because I'm like, just shock me. Like I want to learn something, and that's why I love like learning, especially because like something like this is something that really goes back into just our lineage. Like this is just straight up from evolution, which
Yeah.
is so fascinating because a lot of us just look at it and go, oh, it's because of Instagram. Oh, it's because of the culture. But no, like a lot of this is imprinted kind of like in our subconscious mind already.
Well, it also gets controversial because that book right there is about evolutionary psychology. You know what a lot of people that are hardcore conservatives don't like? Evolution. Do you know what a lot of people, hardcore leftists, don't like? Gender roles. And that defines both.
Oh.
So neither political aisle likes that subject, and that is the most falsifiable subject in psychology, but never falsified. The parental investment hypothesis is the hypothesis that amongst two gender species, the gender that has the most parental investment, meaning the larger sex cell, which in Homo sapiens would be females, there's certain types of fish where it's actually males, the other gender will compete for that gender, and that gender will be pickier. And in every single case, it turns out to be true. It is an unassailable, falsifiable theory in evolutionary biology, but it has never been falsified. This is a hard science. And so people have a hard time with it, even though it's true. It's very similar to Galileo going to the Pope and saying, hey, just to let you know, the earth goes around the sun. and the Pope being like, fuck you, you're on house arrest till you die.
Right.
So
Lock him up. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's the same kind of
crazy.
thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, because that subject does not follow any political dogma. Neither political party wants to adopt it. And so it stays in the background. And people still believe in, no offense, the 5 love languages, trauma release, and the idea that the earth is flat. And when in reality, there's psychology. Like when women are like, men are trash, and men are like, women are trash. Who cheats more? There's actually numbers. You can look at GSS surveys. Men cheat more than women. About 20% of men and 13% of women. You can look up these numbers. How many men haven't had sex in the last year? About 33% of men under the age of 30 have had 0 sexual partners. And about 26% of men have been a virgin, have had no sex since they were 18 to 30. And that number's climbing because of this phone. And so these are things that you can learn, right?
Makes
and now
sense.
you create these incredible videos, right? You did a cover for Lady Gaga, Bad Romance. Right? You did that. You did that cover. You have one actually I love called Sus. Because did you ever play?
I have played it with my fans, the LS Army. We would like go in a group chat, and I would be like, "This is the code. Join right now!" And the room would get full, and then we'd go
you do
play.
It on Zoom? So we do it on Zoom. You should try it on Zoom.
Oh,
we do
still?
200-300 people on Zoom.
Play
people
game?
play the game all the time. I love it.
Oh my
god.
God.
Yeah, dude, Sus. Because the fun part about the reason why you have to do it on Zoom is because you have to talk shit. The game is not fun unless you call your friend. What game is it? It's what's the game, guys?
Oh my God.
Where you try to figure out who's the murderer? Oh, on the spaceship.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Yeah.
So when you play Among Us, you're like, dude, you're so guilty. Like, you're the one who's the killer.
Right,
and like,
right.
bro, unless you're so guilty. It's obviously
I know.
you.
That's why but I never like to play with like my fans because I love you guys so much. LS Army, I love you. But it's just thing is like they would know I'm the killer and be like, we're gonna let her get away with it. And I'm like, it's like more fun if you like play it like for real. Like,
dude, I'm like,
stop like being like, yeah, go ahead and let's kill him.
that game teaches you so well how to lie. It is crazy.
I know.
Among Us is such a crazy.
You get real trust
Kylie, when we get
issues.
home, we're playing Among Us. When we get home, we're playing Among Us for 100%.
Trust issues are a real thing during that game. You can trust anybody.
Okay, so you're using evolutionary psychology when you do the album cover, when you do the thumbnails for your YouTube video.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
You're using evolutionary psychology when you make the video with the robbing the bank. I forgot what the video that was. It was a money dance.
Money dance. Yeah.
Yeah. When you make that video, that's evolutionary psychology. What are you showing? You're showing attractiveness,
Absolutely.
hip to waist ratio.
Absolutely.
You're in like different wigs, right?
Yeah, I love changing it up. Yeah.
Like variety. You're showing money.
Showing you I have
showing
all different personalities, baby.
competency.
You want a short hair girl? I got you. You want a long hair girl? I got you.
Right.
You want a girl in latex? I got it all. I'm like all the flavors, baby.
But you remember what we talked about before, men wanting variety. And you're playing to that.
Right. But I don't do it when I create the art thinking going in, I'm going to give men variety.
But men don't think I want variety because my ancestors did.
Right.
It's completely subconscious.
Right. And that could be something that's imprinted from maybe the originator of whoever created art was doing this with the intention of, I'm going to give variety so that men see variety. And then passed down through all the years when, and I'm studying my favorite artists. I'm studying the greats, right? And I'm seeing variety was done there. I want to do variety. I want to make sure that people see that I can be her, but also be a less at the same time, So there's an element of like, I'm just studying what I love, but subconsciously, sure, maybe the originator of whoever started this was kind of going towards that angle.
Well, I mean, if you look at like early art, it's always a human form is one of the main things that people look at.
Yeah.
And if you look at like the symmetry of like Michelangelo's David, right?
Yeah.
You kind of see like, well, no, we were sort of attracted to the same thing. And maybe not a penis that small, but like the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? I have a feeling that if he was that good with a slingshot and he killed Goliath, that he was probably never mind. It's a weird thing there. But yeah, no, you absolutely, that's the case.
Yeah.
But evolutionary psychology, like what we find attractive, what you're going to find is that like why are these things important? There's one study, 71% of what women find attractive in a man physically is upper body muscle. Upper body muscle is so much more important to women than it is to men. And specifically, it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's more like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
Yeah, have like a little bit of something there.
Yeah,
like,
but you remember Brad Pitt in Fight Club? How he's super lean?
I loved him in Fight Club. Yeah, absolutely.
That is what women tend to choose as the most attractive physique, not the Arnold Schwarzenegger physique.
Right, because if it's too jacked, it's like, okay, whoa, slow down there.
But it's not just that. Think about the ancestors. Am I supposed to hunt gazelle being 6'4" and weigh 275 pounds?
Yeah.
Or is it easier for me to hunt gazelle when I'm 5'10" and I weigh about 188 and I could run real fast?
Right, you can go
and change direction.
Mobility, yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The best wide receivers in the NFL are like 5'10". You know what I'm saying? Because they can switch direction.
Right.
Defensive backs. And so that's the reason why. As a woman, you're looking like, which guy's going to be able to provide for me? The 6'8", 340-pound defensive tackle? No, that's not generally who women pick. Right? They pick David Beckham. That's who they pick.
Except for Cal Drogo. What's his name?
Khal Drogo. But Jason Momoa is not as heavy. Jason Momoa and me are way about the same.
I'm sure, like in person, he's not as like grandiose as he appears on screen.
I mean, because he's the girl he's acting opposite. She's like 5 feet tall.
She's very tiny. Yeah. So
Jason Momoa, I think is like 6'2", 220, 230. I'm 6'2", 220. Like he's not that big.
Right. It just looks different on camera.
Exactly, because his shoulders are so broad and he's got these big eyes on the of course.
Yeah.
And women find that very attractive, right?
Yeah.
You know what the other thing that I think women get that wrong is because he's not super cut. People confuse Jason Momoa for dad bod. That is not a dad bod.
Oh no.
Yeah, but a lot of girls do. They think they confuse when they say I like dad bods. No, what they think they're talking about is Jason Momoa. What they're talking about is beer gut and pasty.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
we don't like dad.
We don't
bods.
like dad bods.
No.
Beautiful.
Different.
You were in People magazine. Can you talk about that? Like how did they contact you? How did that whole thing happen?
My publicist just set up the interview, and then they just like sent me a bunch of questions. They wanted to, I guess, like highlight me as one of their like rising stars, I guess it was. So that was really fun and exciting, because that's always a publication. I grew up like, when I was younger, I would actually like read do they even still have like those little tabloids like by the checkout at the thing? Yeah. Like
it's just I have Uber Eats, so I never they grocery shop for me.
Right. No, I do Instacart. So
Instacart, you understand.
Shout out I should get a little sponsor for that.
Shout out to the National Enquirer that we're never going to see because we have Instacart now.
Right. So, like that back in the day, like we used to have those.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I ever bought them, but I think like my mom and my aunt would buy them and then they'd be in the house and I'd be like, oh, look at this. Look at Beyonce's dress here.
Yeah.
Like, so cool. So it's cool to be like in a publication like that after you kind of notice the things that you grew up loving, you kind of draw them towards you and you kind of end up bringing them into your circle somehow or some way. And
I have a Dallas Cowboys helmet right behind me. You're absolutely right.
Wait, so what do you mean? When you were growing up,
I was a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
Always.
Yeah.
No, I got a pretty semi-popular podcast where I get to show my Cowboys helmet every day.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Right. Exactly. But that's a form of manifestation. It's like you grew up like showing a love and affinity.
I think so the thing is, you're using the connotative version of the word manifestation.
Yeah.
The denotative version of the word manifestation is not what you're talking about.
What's the word?
I close my eyes. The denotative version of manifestation, I close my eyes and I open my eyes, and there's physically $1 million. I'm
not talking about
that. That's right. But that's what. But here's what gets damaging.
The people that don't study don't realize.
But here's where it gets damaging, though, Alus, is that there are a lot of people who watched that nonsense, The Secret, a long time ago, and they started literally thinking, I don't have to work. I don't have to work, and I'm special, and I deserve this shit.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a massive problem.
Yeah.
Right? And then I can't hire you because you think you're going to manifest shit, and I need you to work.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. That's the issue. See, that's like saying I'm a Drake fan, but then saying I only like the song Best I Ever Had, what's the song Best I Ever Had? And like, it's like, no, you got to kind of, first of all, study a little bit more. Just because like The Secret doesn't mean you know how to like actually sit there and meditate and be with yourself. But I'm not just talking about like being like, yeah, I'm going to manifest this and then it's going to show up in my life. Like, of course, put in the work. I think that's probably why.
If you visualize something and work towards it, it will show up.
That's what I'm saying.
It will show up in your life.
You still got to put in the work. I mean, I've never faltered on the work, but I think also visualizing it as a component that you can really like implement into your life that could bring a lot of success.
I think you understand that.
Yeah.
I think it gets very damaging because a lot of people don't grasp this concept.
Yeah.
And they think that they're going to manifest their fame or whatever. Every day I wake up with this incredible gratitude that I get to talk on a microphone about shit that I care about. And I can't believe I get 6 million impressions a month and I don't understand how these people even care about what I'm saying. But they do. And I'm so grateful for it. At no point do I believe I deserve any of this. And I absolutely think in 2 seconds it would all be taken away from me because I have to work every day for this.
Yeah.
That's always the way I look for it. None of this is deserved by me, and there's no karma, fate, or destiny. I made this happen by busting my ass. That is the only way I look at it.
Right. But being grateful for that will also bring more of that,
Sure, of course.
Because, and so that's how I kind of look at manifesting in a way, is like obviously work towards your goals and make sure you're putting in the work, but simultaneously make sure that you're appreciating the things and you're being grateful for whatever you have, because that will bring more to you, right?
Awesome.
It's going to attract more.
Awesome. Just remind your fans of that.
No, I mean, they don't have any issues with. I've actually attracted a pretty interesting tribe of people. I go live on TikTok every night.
So that was the other thing. We're going to get to TikTok, but tell me about your TikTok experience.
Yeah.
I've not done live on TikTok yet.
It's fun. It's really fun because you kind of like, I think I found my tribe there. Like I'll sit on there and talk about manifestation, and there's people that do understand where I'm coming from because they're just like, they kind of find you. It's like what you preach is like what they kind of,
course.
So it's fun. It's really, I'm sure people people watch this show and just you found your people too, you know? So it's like that element of just kind of preaching what you believe in, and then the people kind of find you, and they don't think I'm crazy because it's my place.
Well, I don't think you're crazy because it was working for you.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with believing in astrology, and it helps you with your business. The problem is it doesn't help you with your business.
Well, yeah,
and then when you start telling other people that it's true, then you're contributing to the decay. That's the problem.
Well, I didn't say astrology.
I know
astrology is another thing.
I didn't. I understand what you're saying.
That's a whole nother discussion. I mean, that's a whole nother world. But yeah, I mean, I think like the people on TikTok, you kind of find your group when you should go live because it's really fun. It's really exciting. You really meet a
we'll do it right after this. We're
people.
going to go live. You'll be my first live. Okay?
It's so fun.
I did it for like a while. I had like 1,500 viewers. And I was like, holy shit, I've never tried this before.
Yeah, absolutely. You find your people, and they come in and they expect you to go live. I have like a Discord now where I post in the Discord, hey guys, I'm going live, and like they just know so that they get a little announcement ahead of time, and they could just come and join me. So if I want to go live right now, just post a little thing, and they come and join me, and they just expect they hang out with you. It's like my friends. I mean, I tell them a lot. I say I talk to you guys more than I talk to some people in my life.
Yeah, of course.
More, because you're always on there, and I'll do anything. I'll do my skincare. I'll cook on I'll be making food like for dinner, and just like having them hang out with me because that's like my free, even though
that's always TikTok. You don't do that on IG. It's always TikTok. You don't do YouTube or anything. It's always TikTok.
Yeah, just TikTok.
The only reason why I'd be afraid is because you're an attractive woman, and that's who TikTok seems to hate right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mean?
TikTok, every attractive girl I know has gotten banned on TikTok. I think because you make music, they put you in a different algorithm.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you're talented, I think they put you in a different algorithm. Any girl who's just like sitting, like I do not know a single attractive girl who's been on there for a while and put up more than 100 videos has not had their shit taken down. Not one.
Well, I'm a TikTok partner too. So
okay,
yeah.
that probably helps a lot.
So I'm like a partner, but yeah, so I'm like part of a collective group like at TikTok where we have like a manager and things like that. So that helps. But I also just I've done some pretty questionable.
But you're a serious artist. I think that's what makes it a little different.
Yeah, but on live, I'm not. That's what they love about me is like I show them that side of me that I have written and recorded. Sometimes I have an iRig where I like set up my my like you can hear me recording on my microphone like directly into my phone. So it's pretty cool. You can like see me like write and record. So that's really fun. They love when I do that. They actually wish I would do that more. But that's kind of like my chill time of the day. Like after I'm done recording and after I'm done doing all my things that I have to do work related, then I'm gonna hop on TikTok and be like, hey guys, let's do skincare and talk about the shit that you like. I don't know, and that's what they love about it because I feel like they're seeing that side of you that maybe they don't see when they watch you in the music video.
For sure.
Know?
You saw Kim Kardashian just lost her TikTok.
What?
Yeah, she just lost it a couple days ago.
I'm sure she'll get back. I mean,
she will because she'll call somebody. But she lost her TikTok because she looks like a feminine woman. I'm telling you, they do not like the Chinese people who run TikTok are not like the people who run Instagram. It's very different.
But they have an American division.
They do. But like we did this experiment. I have some female friends of mine. We would post the same videos, and mine would stay up, and they would lose their account. Men are far less likely to have their TikToks taken down. This is just an objective fact. Like it is. Like they just have a different standard. For what they see. And any kind of bikini, shaking boobies, anything like that, you are done immediately on that platform.
Yeah, I haven't had that issue. I don't know.
No, I know you don't. I'm just saying, like, I think that's why, like, you are a serious artist. I think that's the reason. I don't mean you're serious. I mean, you're a legitimate artist. That's what I meant to say.
I guess, yeah, I guess. But I still make those little trendy TikToks, I don't
I've seen your TikToks, and I don't think anything you're doing is lascivious. I think they're funny as shit. I think you put a lot of work into your TikTok. I think they're really good.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, so I recommend people go check it out because I looked at your different platforms. I like your YouTube, but your TikTok was, like, very,
It was just fun. It's just like a fun place. I really use it as an outlet at this point. Like, I do make, like, music TikToks, too, but I just like doing trends and just having fun, It's
okay.
like fun place.
Let's talk about this. So someone who wants to get to where you are and treat this as a business. Mariah Carey wasn't going on TikTok to become famous, right?
It's a different time in music.
It is a different time. So can you talk about all the different function of your business? Do you have merchandise?
Yes.
You have somebody who builds a sales funnel for that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
I'm involved in everything.
Is there any platform where you don't do the posting or you do everything for all the stuff?
I do everything now, but I'm sure that there's going to be a point when I'm probably not going to be able to like
uploading on YouTube's a bitch. Like I can totally see like having someone else do stuff like that for you.
It helps, but I'm like a little bit of a control freak.
Okay.
So I like to be involved. But the thing is I've learned to kind of like simmer down on that over the years.
Yeah.
But I just like want to make sure that it's in my voice, so I always have to approve it because I would never want somebody to send out, like I do everything myself right now. So that's not to say in the future I won't have an assistant that I might be like, hey, can you post this for me? But that still means that I'm giving the final say, final approval. I just never want anybody to like say something that's not in my voice,
I guess what I'm asking next is like, at what point of success do somebody out there is like, I'm looking for management, and someone like we got to a certain revenue number where I decided to hire a social media manager.
Yeah.
Well, for you, was there a point where you realized we're making enough money, we're having enough success, or I need to start delegating some of these tasks?
I think you need to have something to manage before you have a manager.
Right.
You know, like I think people kind of get caught up in this thing like, oh, like, you know, you see these like, I don't know, these new artists or whatever, like they slide in my DMs and they'll be like, hey, can you hop on my, like they just expect someone to make it happen for them.
For sure.
And I think that with social media, we're in this like period of the world where you can do it yourself. Like I think maybe build it yourself, because that's what I did. I mean, I was independent recording covers and mashups in my bedroom, and then taking the video and like setting up my Canon and like making sure the angle was right, the lighting was right, and making sure like it didn't go out of focus, and God forbid it went out of focus because I'd have to do the whole fucking video again. And like I was learning the angles, the lighting, like the ring light.
Autofocus.
I have both, baby. At this point I have like a little camera closet. But back then, you know, like I was like learning and just like doing things myself, and that's kind of, I feel like, what led me to this point in my life where I can and like have a team or have other people get involved, because I'm like, the lighting's not right there. Can we redo that? Or like, you know what? Actually, I don't like that vocal. Can I please try it again?
Yeah.
And I'm still open for input. That's not to say I'm like, it has to be my way. But I just feel like when you know your craft or know your art and know what you want to say or what you want to release, it helps the whole idea. Like it helps everybody come together in a much more cohesive way. So maybe work on it yourself and grow it yourself before looking for handouts. Because I never did that, you know?
Yeah, a lot of businesses are like initially looking for seed capital. And I'm like, you should be able to turn a profit initially.
Before you're getting an investment. I agree with that 150%. Like, why are you looking for a manager before, like, people say, oh, I need a manager just to get me into, and I'm like, do something that makes the manager like worthy.
They should be calling you.
Right.
To want to represent
That's
you.
what I'm saying. Have everybody call you. Don't look for them. Have them come to you.
Do you have an accountant?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you file? And it's really weird. No one will ever ask you this question except me.
Okay.
Do you expense everything as far as like the way you file? Does you have to go through the accountant and be like, this microphone? Does it ever get to like this level of travel? I can write this off. That kind of stuff?
Are you kidding me? My write-offs are crazy.
Yeah.
I just went through them like with my accountant literally like last week. Well, not last week. Like it was like 2 weeks ago because we're already done now. But like, you know, I just like to review for the next year. I'm like, hey, for next year, you think I could write this? But you know, my write-offs are crazy.
You realize how many people don't realize what you're talking about, and it isn't until you are a business owner that you come to this realization that like these things that the tax code is written to where instead of paying taxes to the federal government, you can spend a lot of money on your business for continuing education. If you got vocal lessons, I'm not saying you need them, but you could literally write that off.
Everything.
If you travel, sure. You're in a movie premiere, you get invited, you can write that off.
Yeah, dinners with like other like people from work. Yeah, sure, absolutely, all of that. Are you kidding me? I tried to write off as much as I can.
Yeah.
IRS don't come for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to go to jail.
It's just something a lot of people don't think about, right? Because because also as a content creator, it really does widen the scope of what you could write off and how you end up paying taxes.
Yeah, there's so much. Even like if you go live and you show a product or whatever it is, like there's so many different ways you could do it. And I mean, I just get nervous because, you know, like taxes are so serious.
Yeah.
And so like I provide everything. I'm like, this is what I bought for my business. Like for, you know, and I have my LLC set up. So it's like, I always like have everything set up, but you know, it depends like what I think I'm paying a little bit more than I should, but my accountant's like, you would want to, you don't want to have any issues.
Yeah,
down
you don't
the
have
line.
the other way around.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever, but I'll spend the money. But I spend a lot of money on my business every year.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of people don't realize that. They're like, why? How come Apple Computers doesn't pay any taxes in the U.S.? Well, it's because a lot of their business is off in Scotland and China. But the other reason why is because they buy other businesses every year, and those they can count that down as an expense,
right.
Which is why they end up not paying that much in taxes.
Correct.
Also, you know, the situation with like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was like, he's making his money off capital gains, so he has to pay at a lower interest rate. You don't know this stuff until you get an accountant or you study
like
this.
Mergers and acquisitions.
Exactly. You don't know this until you get an accountant. And so many people just look at it like, I would love to see not how much Drake makes a year, but what he can write off.
Right.
Like what
his jet or whatever.
I'm probably the only person. I'm the only person who probably thinks like this. I would love to see. Could he literally say, guys, we got to fly everywhere in December so I can write this fucking fuel off, so I don't have to pay taxes next April. I would love to know if that's the way that those things are handled.
One of my friends who's like really, really well known, he was telling me like that
Mm-hmm.
his accountant told him to spend more.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's what our accountant tells us. Yeah.
like spend more because then you just have more.
I'm headed to Cabo next week for a business trip.
Right, business.
But it is a business trip.
Right.
It's not a business trip for her, but it's for me. I'm going to be I'm going to be in this classroom the whole time when we're there. You know? So yeah, it is crazy. And then again, as a content creator, it's funny. Like video game streamers, they'll like buy packs or they'll buy these chairs or whatever, and they get to write everything off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, bro, you get to write that off and play video games? That's crazy.
That's your world. That's your business, right? Yeah. So it's like, of course you should.
Love that's the part of the U.S. I love the most, man. I love free enterprise.
I don't like taxes at all.
Yeah.
It's a part of the U.S. I do not like. I do not think we should be paying to add more to the economy, but go off. But go off.
There we go. All right. So let's say this. One of the things, Satoshi Kanazawa wrote a second book after Why Beautiful People Have More Daughters. It's called The Intelligence Paradox. And one of the things he talks about in there is more intelligent people tend to be messier and tend to stay up later at night.
Oh, I must be a genius.
Yeah.
Because I like sometimes I'm a night owl.
I woke up 25 minutes before we came here.
It's
we started at 3:30 p.m. Just FYI.
What time did you go to sleep?
Babe, what time we go to sleep? Like 6 a.m.? 5:30, 6, yeah.
Yeah, that's me some nights. I try to, I try to sometimes be like, let me get my morning routine together.
Yeah.
But it's so hard when your circadian rhythm is like built for the night. Like you are a night owl. And I'm so creative at night too. And I have all these ideas. And I'm just like, Alus, like, come on, girl, we got a 9 a.m. meeting. Come on, pull it together. And that's what's hard is because a lot of business, meetings and things like that do not.
Yeah, they don't coincide with morning. So Dr. Andrew Huberman, he talks a lot about this, about getting sunlight and all this kind of stuff. You can still get sunlight and wake up around noon and stay up at night.
They say the sun is the strongest at noon, apparently, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the issues is, you can't tell me throughout evolutionary history there wasn't a group of men who protected the tribe at night. There was.
Right.
There were people who walked the perimeter at night.
I'm sure, yeah.
United States Special Forces, we don't fly during the day. We fly at night. We attack at night. We use night vision goggles. The U.S. military owns the night. This idea that you are only, it's one of these things where, of course, I'm a huge fan of Jocko Willink. I'm a huge fan of The Rock and these guys, and they keep showing, I woke up at 3:58 today.
I know. Or
I woke
Mark
up at 3:50 today.
He wakes up
I woke
so
up at
early.
3:30. Well, I woke up 2, and I'm like, bitch, I didn't go to sleep. I didn't sleep at all. I don't sleep anymore.
I know, but sleep is so important.
No, it is, but it's like this dick measuring contest to see who can wake up the earliest. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, I was up at 2:30 also. I was getting emails done, and then I'm going to go to bed.
I think it's just a matter of get your shit done. If it works at 3 a.m. or if it works at 6 a.m. or if it works at 5 p.m. As long as you accomplish what you need to do, it doesn't matter if it's from 8 to 12 or 12 to 9.
At 1:30 in the morning, are people sending you bullshit text messages though?
No, but that's why I love creating.
That's my point. That is my point. Why people don't want to listen to me. That is my point. I am so productive from midnight to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Why does it and I get chastised for this.
No,
Michael, you got to get up at sunup. I'm like, there is no science behind this. Yes, there is science behind having a lack of vitamin D from a lack of sunlight. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why my whole apartment faces to the west over at Panorama Towers. And yes, you can. I'll tell anybody where I live.
Tell people where you live. Oh, you crazy. It's okay. It's okay. You're coming from the evolutionary standpoint that I'm built to handle. If someone comes through,
you can come visit. You can come visit if you want. But no, that's a situation, right? Where you have that type of deal. I get sunlight. I work at a pool during the summer. I'm fine with the sunlight, but it's just the issue where I like this idea that you're more creative at night.
I really am, and that's another reason too. Is nobody bothers me, and I love doing my meditations at night. I feel like I reach a new level of consciousness when it's nighttime because nobody bothers me, nobody emails. Well, I mean, even if you get emails, it's I'm not obligated to respond to you right now or text you back. I put my phone, I have this new thing now. If anybody texts me out there, you see my phone being do not disturb at a certain time. It'll be 9 p.m. to sun up, baby, because do not disturb means don't hit me. But people still hit me. But I'm just don't hit me because I'm doing something. And that might be meditating or writing or doing something, just being with myself. Sometimes it's just, you got to be with yourself,
I've had people hit me up and they're angry at me because I'm on do not disturb. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally live streaming on YouTube. You can literally see me on YouTube live streaming, and you're cussing at me because I didn't respond to you.
That's not the kind of company you want to keep.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy. Yeah.
No.
So let me ask. I ask a lot of my guests this. This situation is you have chosen to be a lane of success. You're doing something that you're good at. In doing so, you do understand that there are some sacrifices.
Oh yeah.
We've mentioned before about the dating situation. Do you see, and let me ask you, how does this affect you with your future relationships, knowing that your career comes first? Do you see that this could be a problem?
I know it's a problem. I do think that there's also this kind of dichotomy of like, oh, if you have a career, you can't have like a relationship, but like you can have it. You can.
You can, but here's the thing. Here's what
Yeah.
like against the science shows. It is harder for a woman to go get the second PhD, get a degree in engineering, have kids, and then have a family than it is for a man to do the same thing. For a man can generally balance family and work. Women have a harder. It's not saying all the time, but there's tons of TED Talks where women are like talking about, I got the second degree. Where's my man? God, where's my man?
Yeah.
And it tends to be harder for women.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, I think when you're really career focused, you might be kind of in like alpha mode and you're just kind of like, I don't know. I also think that maybe when you're super career focused, you're not necessarily looking for that, and it might come along, which is great. So I'm not saying like I'm not welcoming it, but I don't know. I think that is a sacrifice you do make, is like relationships, even just friends, having friends. Like my sister, I don't know if I should talk about this. I don't know if she would want me talking about. She just tells me like, I think you're like, you should get out more. Like you are probably like she thinks I'm lonely. And to me, I'm like, I feel fulfilled. Like I feel very happy to like not have to go out and like go to like a pub and just like, and I understand that mentality. Like if you do that and that makes you happy, then be that person. But I never found happiness in like going out to like drink all night and then like come home with the hangover or whatever, and you know, and then the next morning I can't do the things I love. So to me, like I find happiness in my work, and that's like my happy place. Like when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, right? You know, like the quote. So it's like I love like writing and just being like alone with my art, or just, you know, talking about creative ideas. Like I call a producer I work with, I call him up like really late sometimes, and he's probably like laughing if he's watching this right now, because I'll be like, okay, so when the stage opens up, you see me, and the music's like dun 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 dun, dun, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, and I'm giving him like my world tour vision. It's like 5 a.m. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, this is what's on my mind, you know, and I'll just talk about it like super like late at night. Like, this is what's happening, you know, like that's fun and exciting to me. Like, I don't care if like, you know, I go out with like, you know, it's like some people have a different lifestyle, and those might be sacrifices to some people, but to me, it's like, I'm okay with giving that up right now.
I have 2 business partners, and I love when they go to like Thailand or whatever, because they're on my schedule now. You know what I'm saying? It's daytime for them. Yeah, they're up late. It's like they're on my schedule. They're in Australia. Perfect. Let me call you at 4 o'clock in the morning. Right. We're good now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the best. Like just kind of, you know, a meeting of the minds at like 3 a.m.
So this is another thing I think is interesting. You have to put out a perception on social media that isn't always accurate. Like you've probably seen mine. It looks like I go out every fucking night. I don't. I'll go 4 or 5 days. I won't even leave my apartment. I play with cats and I play in video game tournaments. And I make YouTube videos. I do nothing else. I literally will not leave my tower for 4 or 5 days.
No, I'm the same.
And I am not the slightest bit lonely. Yeah. I am so excited to get to work every day.
Right.
And then 2 days a week, I'm on stage at Zook, or I'm on stage at Access, or I'm on stage at Omni, or I'm at What Republic. 2 days a week. And then the rest of it, I'm doing this. And I think a lot of people, now, do you ever have this issue also where they believe that your life is literally, you woke up out of bed like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You were just like, you fell out of bed. You were perfect like this. You went to go talk to all these people. And then, but you also show the other side though on your TikTok,
I
right?
do show that on TikTok, but I do find like, I feel like some people don't do their homework. Like they might not be on my TikTok because they might, like, I see when people invite me to things, they think I just like am going out to events all the time. And
Yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
I literally don't go to anything that people invite me to.
May 20th in Miami, Florida, Babes in Toyland.
Okay, but for charity,
Fashion Tales,
I will be there for
rescue
charity.
Animals.
Charity, I'm there.
Okay.
Charity, I'm there.
I have a couple of podcasts in Florida if you want to go on them.
Oh, also. Period. I would love to. I see Florida. That's fun, but that's like work for me, so I love it.
But they're super controversial. I got to tell you.
Oh, what are we talking about? Well, okay, we'll talk about that offline.
I'll talk to you off air.
Talk about that offline. Yeah, but I mean, people think when they see you like this like bombshell or whatever it is. Like I even like, you know, even with like I started in OF. I'm like, should I say it?
No, we're gonna get that's 3 more questions.
Oh, you come back.
Definitely going into that laugh. Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be in there somewhere, but I just started that, and people think all of a sudden I'm this like sex kitten, and I'm like, I don't think y'all really know me. If you just look at that side, it's like you got to do your homework to see like this is a well-rounded individual. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not all like ass and tits.
Yeah.
But I have that too.
Yeah, but you put this perception out for marketing, and it's not indicative of your actual life.
But I love the way I look. It's not just, I'm not thinking about it like this is marketing. I'm going like, I love this photo of me. I think I look good, and I'm gonna post it. I don't give a fuck, you know?
Do you believe that the artist Alus is very close to who you are as a person, or they are just completely synonymous?
Alus, yes,
Alus. Sorry,
it's okay. No, you're good. Alus is the true essence of who I am.
Okay.
That's who I was born as. Like, I was born as a star. I was born a star. And I believe, like, the way, you know, like when people see you in hair and makeup, they go, oh, is that like the real you? It's like, this is when I feel the most me.
Right.
You know, like this is, you know how like when Gaga would be seen in like a meat dress and they're like, she's just doing like a charade or whatever. Yeah, whatever. Marketing, all that is great. And we love that aspect of it too. But like, but you can tell she just loved the art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's some arts, like, you know, that's some artsy shit that she just was like, I'm going to explain how I feel about myself through my outfit of the day or whatever she said, you know? It's like, that's when I feel the most alive is when you see me all dolled up and I'm all like, you know, and I'm dancing and I'm killing it or I'm singing, whatever. That's a lust. Like, and that's the true essence. Like, if you had to like nail it, really go down to the core of who I am, like that's who I am, you know?
Is the name Alus, is it Greek? What is it? Where does it come from?
It's just, it comes from the ether.
The ether?
The ether.
I'm not aware of the ether. Can you explain to me the ether?
You don't believe manifestation, so I don't think I can.
Yeah. I mean, I like to hear your explanation
Well,
for it.
the ether, it comes from the universe. It comes from, see, this is something you might be like.
So you created Alus. Alus was not your parents. Like you created Alus.
Well, no, Alus is still a name that I was given. But at the
I didn't know that. See, that's why I'm asking.
At the same time, though, Alus is who I identify. Alus is who I am.
Yeah.
You know, like people might say like, oh, is Alus like a thing you do or like put on? It's like, if you were to see me at 3 a.m. in the mirror with like my hairbrush, it's the same girl.
But was Alus like an ancient Greek goddess or anything like that?
She could be if you want her to be.
But there's no etymology behind the term.
She means illustrious.
Illustrious.
She means no. I mean, she's a superstar.
Okay.
You'll see what it means.
Got it.
Through time.
Got it. Let's go back to this other thing because I was alluding this to before about the difficulties of dating when you have chosen this career field.
Yeah.
The difference between legitimately in the 1850s, men and women needed each other. Like biologically needed each other because things like the Dust Bowl or famine or having kids or working on a farm, the majority of the population was agricultural back then and we needed each other. Now women have Glocks and Mossbergs and have 401ks and drive in G-Wagons.
I know that's right.
They don't specifically need men for approximately they don't. Ultimately they do because firefighters and U.S. military and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do need violent. The reason why there are violent men out there that don't do bad things to us is because the U.S. has more violent men. And regardless of however you want to, you can believe that however you want. The reason why you are free to say the things you want, to protest against the U.S. military, or to do anything you want, and I fully in favor of anybody peacefully protesting anything they want to do, is because men are willing to do violence on your behalf in case the Chinese think they want to invade or any other country wants to do something to the United States. All right, now the point I'm trying to make is, but you don't, in living in your life with your cat, you don't specifically need a man, right?
No, I don't need anything.
Right, but my point is, so that makes you, but you want a man.
I don't really,
you don't want or need a man. That's what I'm asking.
Honestly, I'm not looking, and if it comes along, it comes along.
After this podcast, we're going to get a lot of applications.
Imagine, but no, I feel like at the end of the day, like I used to have this mentality that it was like, no career, no relationship, and it was like very strict, no. But I just kind of learned like when you say no and you close things off, you kind of create like those boundaries for you, and who knows if that could have been like a really special thing that could have made a difference in your life at that time. It doesn't mean you have to marry the person or whatever. Maybe learn something from them or whatever. So I'm not closed off to it. But I'm not looking for it either.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm Gucci, man. I'm like, I'll still do my career and have my whole life and live with my cat forever if I wanted to.
I love
you
cats
know,
so much.
Me too.
I wish I had a big house so I could have 11 of them.
You don't. You did say you have 11?
No, I've adopted 11. I have 3 now.
Oh, where did you adopt?
It's been 25 years.
Throughout the years.
It's been 25 years.
It's not like right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's so hard when you lose an animal.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Have you gone through that many? Like, I don't think I could do it again.
It's so hard. Yeah, I lost one a couple months ago. She had congenital kidney failure. Her kidneys were too big, and she ended up passing. And it went from like she was perfectly fine to like she's cuddling next to me in bed all the time. And the reason why is because her kidneys, she's not producing red blood cells anymore, and she's freezing all the time. And I think she's being affectionate, and she's dying. And I have to take her to the vet, and they are like immediately like, listen, you might want to just put her down right now.
Oh my God.
And we kept her alive for another couple weeks, and then finally she had a seizure, and I had to take her to get put down.
I'm having, that's so sad.
It was really hard.
I could literally cry thinking about that.
I will tell you the thing though, and this is, again, we're way off topic here. Rollo, who comes on the show often, he rescues greyhounds. And one of the things that happened was because she had a seizure, I knew it was time. There was no part was like, well, she seems happy. No, it was definitely time. It was a relief at that point to have to put her down. But before I was like, there's no way I can't put this animal down. It was very hard. But once you do it a couple of times, it's definitely the hardest thing ever. And because it was prolonged, it was actually harder than losing a family member. Well, I had a family member die, but it was immediate. Like when I got the call, he was already dead. With this was just like a long, difficult thing.
It's so hard. We had dogs growing up, and like the dogs, we had to, they got old, they got sick, and it's like losing a family member.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough. And I'm like, I don't think I could do it again. Like,
Yeah.
So after my cat now, I'm like, and also I'm so busy, and I'm like, what if I go on tour? It's just like so selfish to have like a parade of animals. I know you can have other people take care of them, but like
Cats are a little easier.
I know, but I still just feel like that's so harsh on the animal to like travel with them or whatever. So
Don't travel with the animal. Just have
No.
somebody come visit your cat.
I know. So I don't even want to be selfish. Like if I'm not, like taking care of the animal myself, I don't want to be like, I need to have a cat, just have a cat.
I can introduce some cat sitters, like $35 a day. They'll come by.
No,
and they'll
but
take care of you.
I feel like it's just like wrong for me to like get a pet and then be like, okay, go have someone babysit him.
Yeah,
When
I think there's 70 million homeless cats in the United States. I think it's more wrong to let them be homeless.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
They do, and I feel like we should be rescuing instead of breeding at the same time.
I
too.
have
That's a
no
real
patience for
issue.
anyone breeding cats.
I agree with
That
you.
is crazy to me.
I agree
The
with you.
gestation period for cats is so small. They have litters of 6. These things can outpopulate anything. And like the
No.
amount of suffering you create from this is so crazy to me.
And-
Well, you know what I wish? I wish we gravely like fixed almost every cat out there, and cats were cost $10,000 each just to get one cat. And we cherish them. I wish there were so few cats
I
that people were like
know.
competing just to own one cat.
I know. And there is a competition for some of the rare ones,
Yeah,
like
but
some
now,
people-
like every spring, you can just get, there's just litters of cats
I
everywhere.
know,
And you
it's
can
so
just,
sad.
It is.
It really hurts me. I mean, I have this really, down the line, I want to start a charity where I kind of like shut down kill shelters.
Yeah.
Because that really
I mean,
breaks
dude,
my
there's
heart.
another way to shut down kill shelters. Give them the money to not be kill shelters.
Right,
There's
because
another
that's
way to
the
do
issue. They don't have enough funding or like room, really.
Crumbs and Whiskers in Los Angeles. Have you been there?
Yes, the place where you have coffee. And
Unbelievable.
I love it.
Guys, listen to me, gentlemen. Listen to me, gentlemen. Listen and hear me now. If you are talking to a girl who is not allergic to cats and you're worried about whether or not you're going to win, take her to Crumbs and Whiskers. You will win. There is nothing they bring kittens and coffee to you while you're sitting there. New, like brand new kittens. There is nothing. Go to fucking Catch or Beauty and Essex or whatever. You are not going to beat going to Crumbs and Whiskers. Go there.
It's like heaven. It's heaven
Yeah.
on earth. You get to be around kittens and play with them. I love that. The kitten cafes are so fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
So let's just go ahead and try. So the thing is, you're fine if you don't find a man. You're sort of ambivalent to it right
Yeah,
now.
really, honestly, it doesn't make a difference to me. And if it happens, it doesn't. If it, whatever, I don't care.
I have several friends who are really big models, and they were like, I would never go on OnlyFans. I would never do it. And all of them eventually broke down. All of them eventually. And I think what happened was a lot of big models started doing non-nude stuff on there.
Yeah.
And because they did that, other models saw that it was
Yeah.
the case. Now,
Leads the way.
even
yeah.
that with being the case, people who don't understand OnlyFans think that every single girl on there is just doing hardcore porn, and that's all they just 24/7. That's all they do, and they get that judgment. So, what was it for you? Was this something that you had to talk to your management team about? Was this something that you had to talk to your manager about, your family, anything like that? What caused you to make the decision to start an OF?
So I was like thinking, I was approached by like, companies or whatever during the pandemic, but the stigma was really high around like the nudity thing.
Yeah.
And I would just like, I was like, I don't really want people to know me for that. So I just kind of was like, no, I don't think it's my thing. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but I just make music, and I'm like, this is not what I really do on social media. And then like, coincidentally, like when I moved to LA, I had 2 friends bring it up to me and be like, you should get on OnlyFans. Like I'm on OnlyFans, and like, it works for me. And I'm like 2 different friends that don't even know each other brought this up to me at the same time. And, I'm a real believer in like the universe and how things happen. And I'm just like, this is like a weird time that like these 2 people don't even know each other and they're bringing it up to me. And I was like, maybe I should look into this. So I just decided to get on it. And I was like, I'm posting pictures for free anyway on the internet. Why not like make a little bread? So yeah, I started it. I did tell like family out of courtesy, just so that when they see the link go up, they don't go like, whoa, because I'm sure like people would, I'm sure there's people from like that I went to high school with that were messaging me. And
I'm
like,
sure, yeah.
Jesus, I don't even remember you, but like, okay, you remember me clearly because you're here, you subscribed. So Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that, like, I honestly didn't need to tell anybody, but out of respect for the people that I love and, you know, keep close to me, I did tell, like, certain people, or, like, some people I work with as well, so that they saw. But the people that get it, get it. Like, just how you said, like, people, there's two sides of people. There's, like, the people that think that OnlyFans is, like, just porn, and then there's people that understand, like, this is a new way to make money and a new way to, you know,
isn't it
repurpose
funny?
content.
If you post pictures on Patreon, no one's like, whore. No one says that. It's just this one platform. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People go on Fansly. They're like, I can't believe that slut's on Fansly. It's like, you don't even know what Fansly is. But for some reason, there's this bigotry for this one website.
Well, a lot of big, you know, porn stars were, you know, on there,
of course,
So that's why.
But the porn stars are also on Instagram.
Exactly.
And they also make YouTube videos.
Exactly. And people don't understand.
And they also have Telegram groups. And they also have Discord servers.
Yeah.
But no one says anything about that. But it's just in this one case.
Yeah. And like, I've had people say stuff to me and be like, like, this is how I know somebody's not with it. Like, they'll be like, because they see my captions, right? And you got to subscribe to see that content, baby. But if you see a caption that goes fucking crazy, and then like you disapprove of it, you don't understand what this is about. Like, you don't get it, because if you're a type of person that goes,
you're saying it's marketing for you, or what? What are you trying to say?
It could be marketing. I'm not saying.
So
just,
why would the
marketing,
caption be like that?
Because sure, absolutely a marketing.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that some people are so old fashioned that they see that and they go. And then, like, if I hear somebody say to me, like, the music industry, they don't do this, and people don't want an artist that, I'm like, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah,
because I've seen mad artists sign very large advanced contract record deals where they're literally started on OnlyFans and are like killing it on there, but then go on to like rap and fucking still sign a record deal. This is a fucking business.
Half the guys watching this, Tyga's having sex with your girlfriend on his OnlyFans right now. You don't believe me? Go look.
I don't know about that, but like, I don't know anything about that. But all I know is, like, you know, it's
Do
a
not
business.
tell me he has never snuck in your DMs.
I don't know about that.
Tyga is the most notorious. This dude is like, we're doing a video shoot this weekend. Bitch, you've done a video shoot every weekend. Anyway, I don't want to get into this. But he is the king. He is the king of sliding in. It's not even him, obviously.
Know.
He has assistants that are doing this.
I've heard about that.
That shit is crazy, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, like, people just like judge it. I think if you don't understand it, you don't understand how business works. Like, this is a business.
For sure.
And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Like, the people that I fuck with, that make music with me, that have been doing this for a long fucking time, they're like, get your fucking bag. They're supportive. They get it. Like,
for sure.
They're in it. But the people that are so like not like with the times and they're so old fashioned, they go, the music industry doesn't like that. I'm like, you're fucking wrong, because I still have this executive hitting me up. So you're fucking wrong. Nobody cares. Make your money. If anything, it makes me want to fuck with you more, because I want a piece of that check too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want a piece of the pie, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, get your bread. If you're winning, I'm winning. Let's win together. You know? So like, it's just like, if you don't get it, it's over your head, and I'm not here to explain it to you. Do your own fucking homework.
Coffee and Cleavage, which there's two playmates that have a podcast, and then also Monica Holt, who is Swedish Bella. They both took my podcast, and literally it is an OF post. Like, you can watch they literally uploaded the entire podcast of my interview, and they put it up there. And then I showed it, and they're getting more views on OF
That's what
than I was getting on YouTube. It's crazy.
You make so much. Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's a good place.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. So yeah, just interesting that you say that. The other thing is this. I tell people this all the time, like, you know, you want to chase your passion or whatever, and maybe doing OnlyFans might not feel authentic for you. But the reality of the situation is, it is really easy to start your own management company, or to start your own production company, or to lay down your own tracks when you got $10 million in the bank. You just have.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's a means. Use it to reinvest. Yeah. Use it for what you want to do.
Yeah.
I saw this girl on TikTok. She made a post that was like, she said she started an animal charity. Speaking of animal, because we were just talking about animal charities, because she had an OnlyFans, and she like saved. I guess she got a lot of money. She saved it up. She reinvested it. Do that. Like, that's what we're here to do. Like, let's reinvest this bread. Like, yeah, pay your rent, but you know, go on and do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it so nice. Is like, it gave a lot of creators a place to like make money, to do what they want to do.
But you also have leverage in TikTok, Instagram. I don't know if you have a Twitter, but like also OnlyFans. These are different places that you can leverage. I was looking at like Joe Rogan's Instagram the other day, and I realized he has so many followers on Instagram that if he stopped doing a podcast, he could still make a living off of his Instagram.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's if The Rock stopped making movies, he could still like promote products on his Instagram and support his entire life.
Right, but that's how you know it's not just about the money. It's about, you know, what do you love to do,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, there's a different facets of income, but like, you know, he still makes movies because he probably still loves to be an actor, you know? And it's like, that's the whole point. Like, I'm never going to stop making music just because I have an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much money I made there. Like, I'm born to be an artist, you know? But like, if it's another stream of income that is just more money in the bank for me, of course I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not selling my soul. I'm not doing anything I don't agree with. I'm not doing anything that's harming me.
Yeah.
If it's morally wrong for me, then I would reconsider it. But to me, everything I'm doing is still under the same morals I believe in, and I'm fine. It's not like I'm doing something that's wrong or illegal, or you know what I mean? Like, I still am following my code of ethics. And if it works for me, then it works for me. And if you don't like it, change the channel.
Is most of your content from photographers? Do you do selfie stuff? Is it a lot of
I do
lives?
a lot of stuff alone, actually.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I do a lot of shoots, but people like, I did a survey on my thing actually, and they said they like when they see me like raw. That's when because it's like more personal, you know? I could do a shoot every day, but like they like to see you like at home in the mirror with your phone, or just like you prop it up and you just like pose for them in your lingerie. Like, I'm home. I can do that. That's easy if I'm not traveling. So it's like, I can do that all day. That's like, they like that. It's easier for me, actually. I don't have to set up a shoot and like put out like this amazing like edited content. It's like unedited and completely raw. It's actually like not the cutest sometimes, but it's real, and that's what they like. So
speaking of criticisms that you might get from your OF, other criticisms, how do you deal? Like, some of us are unhealthy. Like me, for instance, I go back at the haters. I sit there, I call them cockroaches, and I do it right before I go to the gym. I send them quotes from David Goggins, and I sit there and say, enjoy your mom's basement. I have a very unhealthy way of dealing with haters. How do you deal with them?
Yeah, I love how at least you know it's unhealthy. You're just like, I'm going to deal with it this way. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I used to care, and honestly, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. It's like, if you want to say something, you're going to have something to say, whether it's good or bad. So just keep fucking talking. If my name's in your mouth, I might be doing something right, I guess. You know, I don't care.
This is one YouTube troll that makes videos about me all the time.
And,
And so I was like, hey man, you're welcome to come on my free Monday call. He comes on, and just the dude gets eviscerated for 2 hours. And my fans were like, dude, this is the most entertaining shit that I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was really funny.
I love like the controversy. People don't understand. Like, they think like when you're saying something bad, it's like not, it's that we're not, as creators, we're not going to love it. I wrote this song called Single Girl Rules, and it's like, Rule 1, no broke man can fuck me. I need 100K in the bank before he touch me. Rule 2, I'ma need some equity. And I just talk shit. And the whole comments were like, she's just so, what if I was to work at the grocery store? This bitch. And I'm like, I love that you're talking. Like, please keep talking. I didn't erase one comment. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm like, I want you in my comment section. This is going to help my post. And I love the fucking record. And like, this is what I want to talk shit about.
Listen, we're going to go live on your YouTube and mine on Monday. How about that?
YouTube? No, wait, TikTok.
Okay, you can go live on TikTok. Oh, you can do that also. But you got to come on my Monday show.
Okay, I'll come
I do a
on
Monday show. It's like 100 dudes, and then there's hundreds of people watch us on YouTube.
Oh, I love
It's 100
that.
guys on Zoom, because I can only hold 100, and then everyone else has to watch on, and then we get super chats, and we do this every other Monday.
And do people talk crazy?
That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm just like, if anything, it helps. Honestly, they say like haters make you more known, right?
No, listen.
It literally is true.
My homegirl, Elizabeth Chevalier, she comes on here, Fresh and Fit, was doing a podcast here, and she's sitting next to him, and she just showed it to me, the podcast, like, they're arguing, and she gets a bunch of negative comments, and it got 3.5 million views. And then she goes back and she's like looking, and she's like a bunch of new subscribers to her OF because of it.
Right. Like, you guys are making me money, so.
I specifically invite people on that disagree with me. I'm debating an astrologer in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to watch that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how you deal with adversity. The other thing, you did a recent European trip. Was that for work, or were you just going for fun?
I did have a meeting over there as well. I did a little vacay, just like with my friends. I had never been to London prior to me going there. So it was really fun because I always wanted to go to London, and I went to Paris again. We also went to Lisbon. That was really fun. Portugal. It was a little cold though. You know, I knew
people don't realize how it gets pretty cold.
So cold over there in the winter, and I was like, like freezing, but I brought all my jackets and stuff. It was just, I just realized I don't actually like traveling during the winter time. You have to like pack so much because it's like you're packing big layers. I'm like, I just need a bikini and like a, like a little a top to throw over it. Like I do not want to be like I had heavy luggage and all this stuff. I had to buy another luggage. So I'm not really crazy about traveling in the winter, but it was a very fun experience. And I love Paris and I love going there, and I really want to go to the south of France next. Yeah.
You mentioned some books that you like. Do you have a list of favorite books? I mean,
Yes.
you can give me 5, 10, however many you want.
Okay.
This is a book reading cult. That's
my God,
that's
I love
what
it.
this podcast is.
I know, but a lot of your books are very like business oriented. I read like How to Win Friends and Influence, like those types of books too, or like 48 Laws of Power. I'm sure you've read 48 Laws.
For sure.
Yeah. But my top 5 is I'm leaning a little bit more towards like a consciousness, spirituality, not necessarily like woo-woo stuff that also is like rooted in science.
Sure.
So Divine Matrix by Greg Braden, that's my number 1. Well, no, it's like a tie because I also love Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. This is a great book if you have like in your brain, the thing is a lot of people cannot detach from their consciousness and they think they're their thoughts, right? This book changed my life. So I think that was like my first awakening to this like new level of like consciousness reading, and just even Eckhart Tolle and like, stuff like that. So let me think. I do have a list because I wrote it down, but it's forever changing because I'll read another book and be like, I'm reading Autobiography of a Yogi. Steve Jobs had this on his iPad. This was the only book. Have you read it?
No, I've not read Autobiography. I think I started it. The book you should read is about Alan Turing, which is Steve Jobs' mentor. Like the number, not his mentor, but the person he looked up to the most. Alan Turing was he was the guy who decoded the Enigma machine that the Germans were using during World War II. And he also came up with the idea for the universal computer, which we now use. Once the transistor was invented in 1957, we use that to create modern computing power. That all came from a guy named Alan Turing. But you don't hear about him because he was an atheist, a socialist, and a homosexual. Nobody talks about the dude. He also committed suicide by biting into an apple laced with cyanide. And that is why there's an apple with a bite out of it in the back of Apple computers.
Get out.
Yes.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of these creators when they were creating their inventions, were like on acid and stuff. I learned in a documentary, and I was like, oh my
Some
God.
of them, not all of them.
A lot of them were though.
I mean, so Freud was high on coke when he wrote a lot of the stuff he said down.
That's so crazy to think.
So he was literally smoking cocaine while he's talking. Yeah, look it up, man. It's totally. And the other, Hitler was addicted to coke. There was a couple of other ones that were like that. You find out these crazy stories.
They said
about
like Steve Jobs. There was like the 70s, right? And they were like, doing acid and stuff like that. There was like there's a documentary that talks about all this and stuff. But that's so interesting because it's fascinating to think that these people have created these very things that like we just look at as everyday items.
Yeah.
But to them, it's a brand new, and they had to tap into this like level of and it's so crazy to think that we can create great things just regular. So they went a step further on like something else, and that's just so crazy to think. Like I'm like, oh my God, if I ever did something crazy, I wonder if like I'll create the next, I don't know, next like something, I don't know, but like I don't know, I'm kind of scared of that stuff. But I think it's so interesting because I've been reading about Steve Jobs a lot too, and how so that's why I'm reading Autobiography of a Yogi. It was the only book he had on his iPad when he died, and at his funeral they gave a book out to every single guest, the same book, and he had it like a copy in his house. George Harrison from the Beatles, he had it as well. So it's so interesting to think like, these people are coming from these like, it's weird. You would think Steve Jobs is probably somebody more rooted in like science, but he's reading about yogis.
I think the reason why for him specifically, number one, is because he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer and started to become consumed with things other than the physical realm that he was in.
Yeah, but he had studied this long before then. Yeah. So that's what's fascinating, because you would think like somebody who's a techie or whatever, would be like rooted in science. But here he's reading about.
So he wasn't an engineer. It's Wozniak who was the engineer. He was more of like, he had the reality distortion field with Jobs?
Yeah.
Jobs was a necessary, I don't want to call him a psychopath, but he was psychopathic. He would go up to people and be like, "You're going to get this done, or I'm going to fire you." And he would scream at people and be like, he was a tyrant to work for. But because he was a tyrant, it's the reason why so many innovative things came out the way they did. He gave people less choices, not fewer. You notice he wore the same 7 Issey Miyake sweaters, the turtlenecks, whenever he went out. And that's also the reason why Zuckerberg always wears the same gray T-shirt whenever he goes. That's exactly right. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that you. Speaking of Hamilton, the musical. You should read the autobiography of Alexander Hamilton. It's really fascinating. It is. But yeah, the biographies are fantastic. The one of Michael Jordan is one of my favorites. There's several.
I love reading autobiographies. First of all, Marilyn Monroe, like stuff like that. Even though it's a different lane, right? This is a whole different type of person, but it's just so fascinating to really get into the person's brain and just see like they're not necessarily what you think they would be based off of their persona that was like everywhere on screen or whatever. It's so interesting that I love stuff like that. Books like that, very interesting to get into the person's brain.
Marilyn Monroe marries Joe DiMaggio. He's physically violent with her.
I know.
She leaves him.
Yep.
Starts sleeping with fucking Frank Sinatra. Starts cheating on Frank Sinatra with this playwright. I forgot what the guy's name is.
Arthur Miller.
Arthur Miller. Frank Sinatra then hires a private investigator to spy on Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller and then snitches back to Joe DiMaggio. It's one of the craziest stories ever.
Yeah.
She ends up sleeping with JFK at the residence.
I know you're going to go there.
There are Secret Service logs that say Miss Monroe is sitting here on the residence.
Yeah.
And then Jacqueline says, I feel really bad because this woman's addicted to drugs and I don't want you sleeping with her. He didn't have a problem with her sleeping with other women. He had a problem with her sleeping with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And a month later, she's sleeping with Robert F. Kennedy.
I know.
It's just crazy. Like these stories that people don't realize. She was famous in one weekend. She did one photo shoot while her husband was off in Korea and then came back. I was always interested because I meet so many women who have pictures of Marilyn Monroe above their bed. And I'm like, do you know anything about her?
When she was Norma Jean back then and the guy like scouted her and was like, you should be a model.
Yeah.
That is super interesting. But I find that she was very intelligent when you actually go.
I never thought she wasn't intelligent.
Yeah, get down to it because she knew what she was doing. And that's why I love reading about her because I find there's like, I don't know, I think like as an artist, I find a lot of similarities, not in like, the whole JFK, none of that, but I just mean like her pre-fame moments.
Yeah,
I'm finding I'm having a lot of like similarities, like, and then some of her post stuff happening is starting to happen to me now. And I'm like, I feel like I understand you a little bit more. Like it's different when you read about it and then you kind of go through it. So that's why I love her so much. Like you just see like those and they said like in the book, it's so interesting. They said how Marilyn was always messy and chaotic and just, she was never organized, but Norma Jean was like the perfect housewife. And she had this double side to her. And I find like even me as an artist, I love like reading about these things because me as an artist, like Alus is not a prima donna in the sense that she's like late everywhere and just a bitch. Not like that. I mean, Alus is like the star, right?
Yeah, but you remember the story where she's sitting naked in her trailer for an entire day. For an entire day, she sits there and they have to go into her trailer and she puts on no clothes. And the director of the movie is sitting there talking to her and she's having a conversation butt-ass naked.
No, but Rihanna does that too. Rihanna like doesn't wear tops. I heard this story about on her music video set, like somebody that I know that was there. She was just talking to this guy, like no top. Nothing, like no bra. And she's like, yeah, it was good, man, like whatever. And she doesn't care, whatever. But like Marilyn obviously had some other issues down the line,
But I think that's also part of the warning. Like also, did she have people in her life to tell her no? And I don't think she did. And I think that's something that Steve Jobs did. Steve Jobs had people in his life to tell him, like to physically grab him and be like, motherfucker, what you're doing is wrong. Yeah. He did. And so did
she didn't have any family.
She didn't have anyone like that.
She didn't have anybody. That was the issue too, is like if you have you sometimes you don't realize how grateful you are to come from a family that can just sit back and be like, hey, get your fucking head out of the clouds just for 1 second and look at what's going on. Even if you don't appreciate it when it's happening. I mean, I don't necessarily think I've had that moment yet, but I mean, or I hope it's never going to happen. But either way, like Marilyn, she didn't have any family at all. So like nobody was there. Everybody's there to either make money off of her or leech or be known for something. But it's really interesting to see her go from Norma Jean straight to Marilyn because that's a really crazy transition.
Have you read the message that she sends to Grace Kelly when Grace Kelly accepts to become the Princess of Monaco? So the Prince of Monaco originally proposed to Marilyn Monroe and ended up, when she said no, she married Grace Kelly. And Marilyn Monroe realizes this is my number one competition in Hollywood. Yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, the current Prince of Monaco is the daughter of Grace Kelly and the former prince. And it's really crazy when you see that. But she wrote her like this spiteful fucking congratulations letter. Like, so glad you did this, girl.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Keep your ass in Europe. I'm gonna do these fucking movies. Have a great time, girl.
I know, poor Marilyn. She always had a little issue. They said said she used to do her makeup over and over again.
Yeah.
Like just sit there over and over again. It's so sad to see where her life went, but it could have been so much more. Like I always wonder, like what would her children have been like, and
Yeah,
stuff
for
like
sure.
that,
Definitely. One of the things I thought was really interesting is you had mentioned before about boundaries on social media, and somebody sent something to your home address. You mentioned this before. Like how can you talk about these boundaries that you have?
It's scary because sometimes you don't realize a line has been crossed until somebody points it out, to you. Like I had a fan that was just really supportive, but I don't know, like also, I guess you don't realize it because, I got these flowers to my house, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And I remember like telling friends on the phone, like, look, this fan sent me flowers. And then they were like, Alus, like, are you sure that's like something you want? like they found your address.
Yeah, you shouldn't even acknowledge that on TikTok.
But that's the thing. I know. Now I'm like I'm talking about it here.
Because when you say it, then they're like, oh, well, I ding, 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 I got the right one.
No. Yeah, exactly. So I learned. So I had to set boundaries, and I like told this person, like, don't ever do that again. Because at first, the thing is like, you love your fans. You want to be like, thank you so much. Thank you for sending me this. But then like what happens is it's really hard when you have to, you don't think it's wrong when you're getting it. It's like, like when I saw flowers.
Oh, and he doesn't think it's wrong when he's doing it.
Right. And because I'm like close with them and I talk to them on like social media and I DM them back personally and I talk to them so much, at first I'm like, this is such a nice gesture. And then when you have someone point it out and go, wait, that's actually not right. Like they shouldn't have found your address. And then I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Because just because they're a fan doesn't mean they should go break that boundary. And even like my other fans were like, Alus, that's not right. Like we wouldn't do that.
Super weird.
Yeah, it's really kind of scary.
We had Access Vegas on here last Thursday. I won't say which girl it was, but one of the girls that was in here, we were hanging out with her afterwards, and she starts saying, I'm getting text messages, and I don't know who the fuck this was from. And we had to reverse engineer how this guy got her info. And it had to do with an iChat email that was attached to the link in bio. So it goes link in bio went to LinkedIn page had email address was attached to iChat, text message to the iChat, and it pops up on her phone.
Oh,
crazy, right?
My God. You see, that's why the internet, I'm like, there's no way to like, let me not say no way because
isn't it crazy though? And then he's texting, and then I immediately she's like, nice to meet you. How do you know about Mike? Because he was like, oh, I'm a fan of Michael's stuff, and she's like, oh, are you part of Michael's program? The guy starts getting defensive and starts saying, do you want me to explain to you why I messaged you? And I'm like, holy crap, bro! It's like mental illness is just like following you around. So I can't imagine.
Right, and that's what's so scary because you think about people like Taylor Swift who like finds like a guy like sleeping on her couch, and I'm like, that is like my biggest. I have two fears in life. I don't care about sharks anymore. I mean, I'm still scared of sharks. I probably won't step.
6 people a year die from sharks.
Okay, doesn't matter.
6.
Have you seen Jaws?
Hundreds of thousands of people die in car accidents.
But have you seen Jaws? I haven't stepped in a
Millions
puddle.
of people die from hypertension and high cholesterol.
Okay.
6 people a year die from sharks.
If you were in front of a shark right now, you're going to tell me you're not scared?
I would be scared, but I'd punch it in the fucking nose and get out.
But
The shark
also,
doesn't want to mess with me.
Do you live? We don't know.
Most people who are count sharks, like 99% of people who bump into sharks don't die.
Okay, but also I don't want to see one. So, except for on my TV, I love Shark Week. Shark Week's so fucking cool. But outside of that, no, thank you. So I'm only scared of a couple things in life. Yeah, maybe sharks is up there, but I'm gonna move that away for the side for now. But realistic fears: 1, falling asleep on TikTok live. I'm not joking.
That's not a big deal. That's funny.
No. But I tell my fans,
you're gonna go.
No.
You're crazy. The comments would go nuts.
Do you play video games?
Of course.
Okay, when I was little, I used to play video games, and I used to like play like I don't fucking know, Grand Theft Auto or something. And then when I would be in class, out like in school in 5th grade, I would see like a Tetris block. Like if I played Tetris that day or like that week
you start imagining it.
I would see the block falling out of the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like when your brain starts to kind of like just see things like because you're doing it so much, so your subconscious kind of like creates.
Well, you play Grand Theft Auto and you live in Los Angeles. I would see it all the time. When you play GTA, it looks just like Los Angeles.
I know, but I just mean so what I'm trying to say is when I go on TikTok live, right? Sometimes I go on right before I go to sleep. Like I'll go on and then after that I'll read and do my nightly meditation, then I go to sleep. But because I had gone on live so close to going to sleep, I'll go to sleep and my subconscious thinks I'm still on live. So I wake up in the middle of my sleep and I go, I'm still on live. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like grabbing the phone and it's not on live. It's not on live. It's literally not. It's one of my biggest fears ever.
I think you should deliberately fall asleep on live.
No.
100%.
No, you don't understand.
You will be on No Jumper. You will be on all these fucking places being like, influencer falls asleep on live.
No, that's
you
a
will
thing.
go triple platinum the next day.
No, you don't understand. It's a thing. Like people do sleep lives now because you can like still make money, I guess. So like people will be sleeping.
Can you imagine?
No, I swear to God.
I'm doing a 24-hour live.
I'm telling you, people sleep on live because they'll still get people like sending them like gifts. So I guess they're
Insanity.
making money. Yeah, I won't do that. But that's like one of my fears is doing that. And then also the reason I brought this up was because I'm scared of finding like a man sleeping on my couch one day.
It's not good.
But I don't like to bring it up because it's like I don't want to welcome it into my world. But
listen, if you don't want to welcome it, get a taser. So here's the thing.
I have something better.
There we go. Here we go. So here's the thing. You create your own music videos too. So it's not just the engineering of the music. For a music video, that's a lot more in depth. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to ask you is budgeting, the time spent, the people you hire. Do you outsource some of this, especially with videography? That's something I used to be a videographer.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide all this thing? Do you have any handle in, hey, I want you guys to use an Alexa versus a Red.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to use this Canon, and I want this to be 35 millimeters at 1.2
Yeah.
f-stop. Do you get into that much detail?
I do, absolutely. So the making a music video is the most stressful part of being an independent artist. I'm not going to be independent for much longer, thank the Lord. But I just don't like it. It's the worst. It's like if you told me when I was 8 years old and I pictured myself on stage winning a Grammy that, okay, you would be also planning, before that happens, you're going to be doing like you're going to be like setting up the director and like having the wardrobe, figuring out the wardrobe yourself because maybe you don't like the stylist that you picked out with all this stuff. It's the most stressful, time consuming and very expensive if you're independent and you want the work to come out great. Money Dance was a very costly endeavor for an independent artist, and people thought it was like a major label video. People were like, oh, what label did you release it under? I'm like, I fucking did like, it's just me still. I'm not gonna say there wasn't a great team. I had Mikey D'Amico. He's an amazing director. Shout out to Mikey. He literally directs like all these amazing videos for so many big artists too, but it was independent, so budget, everything had to come from me. I didn't have like an investor. I didn't have anybody, and I don't want one because I don't want to have to owe anybody fucking money, So, and I could pay for it myself. It's just, but then I doing the treatment, and I did it myself. I literally was just looking for the director. I remember I got on the phone with one of my friends who's like a really big director, and he's just like so fucking expensive. And so he like, was like, I have some ideas for who you can hire. And I literally came to him with the treatment. The treatment was done. Like I had the location picked out. I had the outfits I wanted to wear. I found a designer. I even found this.
Which bank was that, or is that what a set?
It was like an event hall that's in New York City that you can like rent out. But it was an old time bank as well. So they just left the vault there, which was really cool. So I was looking for like spaces that were banks, and every like place that I called that was a actual bank set was like $12,000 an hour because they fucking filmed like some movie there previously, like some Leonardo DiCaprio movie where they were like, whatever, like Wolf of Wall Street, whatever the fuck, So when I was like planning this, it's me calling people up and like setting things up, and it's crazy. It's so crazy the amount of work, and people don't realize when you're independent and it ends up looking that grandiose and that amazing at the end, like how much work went into it, But I had an amazing team, hair, makeup, the people that the directors, we used a Red, it was amazing. The whole thing.
That was my next question. Get nerdy with me. What are you shooting with?
Yeah, so we use a Red. Actually, wait, we might have used a black actually. Hold on, I'm trying to think because I've used a Red for the previous video, I think, or like shooting on film. I love shooting on film.
How many cameras do you were you using?
I think we used. I don't know. This was 2 years ago. Do you
remember the focal length of the lenses or anything? Because you can use kind of lenses on a Red.
Yeah. No, I don't remember. I honestly do not remember. But I remember when I'm there, I'm talking about the shot and what I want to do. It was so long ago I shot this thing. This was like the end. This is before I moved to LA.
Is the Red handheld, or does he have
no?
Is he strapped on?
He has a
rig.
Yeah, he has a whole rig, and he's got the. What am I thinking of?
The stabilizer.
Yeah, he's got
a tripod.
Like the dolly.
Dolly, thank you,
okay,
Dolly. Thank you, yes. Thank you. It's like, that was like Jesus whispering in my ear.
No,
Dolly.
that actually is Jesus. Take a look at him. There you go.
Period.
Your Lord and Savior is over there. There you go.
But yeah, so the Dolly, so everything, it was stabilized, but it's just hard when you're kind of working with like minimal budget.
Did they set up the lighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why, you like the lighting or you don't like the lighting?
I love the lighting. I'm just asking.
I was going to say, are you doing a little critique of it?
I'm just a nerd. Like I film everything.
They do lighting, but I get very involved. Like when we're filming, I'm like, can you light my face a little bit more? There's a couple shadows there. I'm kind of annoying in that sense. But when you're a girl and you're an artist and it's like, you're not necessarily just like Deadmau5 like putting a thing on your head. You care about those things. You know what I mean? Like I want to know. Like I want to know I'm being lit good.
Next time Deadmau5 comes out here, I'm gonna take you on stage. You can meet him.
I'll put a hat. Then I don't have to worry about the lighting.
He's fucking greasy as shit when he takes that thing off too.
Ew.
He's all sweaty and everything. It's pretty funny.
Do people know what he looks like publicly?
Yeah, no, he takes it off most of the time. So he'll start. It's really funny. So I go see Deadmau5 every time he's over at Zook. Yeah. And when he's there, he goes on stage and starts playing, and then like the crowd's like kind of confused because he doesn't have the helmet on.
Oh,
and then he plays some,
They're like, who is this?
Yeah, who else? Yeah. Same thing with, so Marshmello never plays without a thing. But what happens is whenever Marshmello plays, sometimes I get invited up to the suite. There's like an after party in his suite at the Wynn. And I'll be up there and they've got food and drinks and everything. And I'm just eating or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he comes out. He's just a kid from fucking Detroit or from Philly.
Yeah, he's like young.
Yeah, he's a young kid from Philly, right? And he just walks around and everybody's there and like girls are like being rude to him. And I'm like, and I wave at the girls. And I'm like,
that's Marshmello.
I'm like this. That's Marshmello. Like I have to tell them because they don't know what he looks like. It's really funny.
That's crazy.
With Joel, with Deadmau5, everybody kind of knows what he looks like because there's a bunch of pictures of him.
So Marshmello doesn't really show himself, huh?
Publicly, Marshmello never really takes his thing off. Yeah, he never plays with it off. He never takes it off. Yeah, but
behind the scenes, he's s'mores.
Yeah,
he's
s'mores.
Graham
exactly.
cracker. Yeah,
he's s'mores. That's exactly right. And then how long from start to finish is it to produce one of these?
Oh my God, I think we had like 16 hours. You know?
In one day you did this?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
I know. I like, and that's
crazy.
The other thing too. We always try to, every single music video I've done, we're like, I'll like book the place for like 8 hours. And then I'm like texting like the person I booked it with. I'm like, can we get 4 more hours?
Yeah.
Can we get 4 more? And I'm like sending them money like to stay for another. It's so wild because you always go overtime. So like anytime I've done the video with myself, I'm always like, let's try to get it over within like 8 hours, baby. Time is money. Let's go. You know, we're doing hair and makeup before we arrive to the location, like doing as much as you can to like cut down on time and stuff, but it's hard, you know? So that's why like major label shoots, like anytime I've done like something with like, you know, actual label plans, they're like 2 days. And I'm like, the fuck 2 days? We need 2 days for, me and my team knocked this shit out in 16 hours last time. Let's fucking go
guerrilla videography, bro. And the thing is, you, I don't know if you remember, but the time between when the Red was here, right? Yeah. The A7S was here, and then the iPhone was here, and now they're all almost the same.
You could do everything.
The iPhone is shooting at 60K, is shooting at 4K at 60 frames a second,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. The A7S is now like no rolling shutter, mirrorless, beautiful cameras, and it's almost catch. Now, obviously, low light, weird light shit like Game of Thrones. You still need the Alexa. You still need the Red.
Oh yeah.
You need that big sensor, but it's they're getting so fucking close to each other that guys are shooting full 4K video on their iPhone, and it comes out beautiful, and you can't tell the difference, and you're still color correcting in fucking Premiere, and nobody can tell the difference.
I know.
As long as the lighting's good, you kind of can't tell the difference, and that's where we're getting now.
I know lighting is super. I think sometimes lighting is more important than the actual camera you use. Because if it's lit badly, it doesn't fucking matter if you shot on a Red or whatever. Like it's bad. You've got bad lighting.
Yeah, whenever people come in here, they can't believe I'm shooting this podcast on iPhones. No one can believe
I know. Actually, yeah, you're right. I mean, I saw them.
They're stunned. Because when you watch the product on YouTube, you're like stunned.
It does
like, how
look
is it possible?
very high tech.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good for you guys.
Because we have robot arms and we can move the things around.
Right. It's like a gimbal you have set up. No.
Yeah, we have gimbals. We have upside down monopods that are hanging from the ceiling.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, so they're moving with us or no?
Yeah, they're moving with us, but you have 3 different shots. Isn't that crazy?
Baby, hello from every angle. Every angle.
That's funny. All right, give me next couple things that you have coming up. Anything from adopting a cat to I have this new music video to I'm performing at the Grammys. What are you doing?
Yes. Well, no, we won't be adopting any cats anytime soon, but I would love to like go volunteer to shelter soon. Actually, that would be nice. I'm working on a project, and something will be coming out this year. I don't have dates yet because there's a lot of people involved. It's not just me at this point because it's time to bring in the troops. You know what I mean? I've done everything I could alone, and I'm ready to like really take that next leap.
Me too. Shout out to Barstool. Come and buy my shit. Buy my show. buy Sticky Paws. Come on, Barstool.
Right. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, if you want to do everything yourself and just like do it in like a level that doesn't necessarily reach superstardom, good for you. You know, some people do that as like a hobby, but this is my life. So we're not playing around. This is not like a little hobby that I'm doing just to film a little independent music video anymore. Like, we're about to we're about to like show the world a little something. So a lot of things are happening right now. I'm really excited. I have a very big superstar producer that is executive producing the whole album.
So when did Timberland contact you?
It's somebody bigger than that.
Okay. Kanye hit you
Shout
up
out
when?
to Timberland though. I mean, I met Timberland before. I love him. I'm not saying, but this person that's doing it is legendary.
When does Mike Will does it? When did he
Bigger
hit you
than
up?
that.
Oh, okay.
Bigger than that.
When did Juicy J hit you up?
This is the best producer that ever lived. Like, you don't understand. Like you don't because you're not in the music industry.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know.
I don't. No, I don't.
It's not like one of these rap guys that's just
Okay.
out here like
It's not Manny Fresh.
It's not no,
DJ Manny Fresh now?
It's not one of these guys that's just like a trendy dude. I'm not saying any of those guys are trendy.
Yeah.
And I love their work. I would still work with those people too. I'm not
Shout
saying
out to DJ Khaled. Hit her up. She's gonna another one.
I know. Yeah, I met Calvin before. He's cool. But no, like it's not like anything like that. This is like history making.
Yeah. Quincy Jones hit you up.
Like something like that. Something like that. It's very. I think it's better.
I think it's better. I love it. Man.
I
I'm
love
excited.
Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones is one of my favorite producers, believe it or not. Actually, he follows me on Twitter. Shout out to Quincy Jones. But I don't think he even like knows he follows me. It's probably like his assistant or something.
Yeah. It was probably
either,
Dr. Dre who's told him to follow you, and then that's who.
Dre knows about it.
I'm
apparently.
Sure.
I don't know.
All right.
It's not Dre though, but I'm just saying. I think I said too much.
All
I
right,
might get in trouble.
Listen, I'll give you the
know.
podcast, and you can do whatever you want. If you're ever in town again, I'd love to have you come on Access Vegas. It's our panel show that we do. It's very somewhat controversial and wild, and you can have a really great time.
Okay.
We'd love to have you.
I would love to come back. I love Vegas. Like every time I come here, I'm like, it is so. The energy here is like fun, and it's like I don't feel like pressure. I just feel like. I'm having a conversation with you. Like if I was like out to lunch with somebody, it's the same thing. So I feel like it's not too intense of like when I touch down here, it's nice.
Well, think about like, I don't know who your favorite DJ is, but like, let's say Illenium. If you wanted to go see Illenium at Tao Beach versus going to Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, it's parking, it's traffic, it's all this kind of stuff. You got to buy a ticket. You're in there, you're kind of cold. People are bumping into you. If you come to see Illenium here, we're on stage at Tao Beach, literally standing next to like Gronkowski and fucking Jason Strauss. Illenium's right in front of us. It took us no time to get in. Parking was free. It's just easier here. Everything
really
is just easier in Vegas than it is in Los Angeles. That's the best way to explain it.
I agree. I went to the Grammys when it was in Vegas. It was not this past one, the one before then, and it was so like easy. It was like hotel down to the thing. You go to the show. You look cute. Take your photos. It's like 1, 2, 3.
And there's like five-star restaurants between the show and your room that you can walk to.
Right.
It's so. People ask me what's the main difference between Vegas and LA. Vegas is just easier. Everything
really
is just easier here, and it's not more expensive. It's just easier.
Right. Everything could be in the same hub, like the same hotel you're staying or whatever. That's great. I love it. I love it.
We could leave here right now, go to Tao Beach, on stage, come back, within an hour, be back here, and it wouldn't even be a problem.
Right.
That's what makes this place so awesome.
There's like no traffic here. Like LA, oh my God. It's a whole other
Awesome.
world.
All right. Give me all the platforms where we can find you.
Okay. So Instagram at Alus, ALUS. TikTok at Alus, ALUS. Just go on YouTube, type Alus, and you will find... Go stream Money Dance for now, like, just for now, because I got something else for you, but just stream Money Dance for now. And what else? I said TikTok, great. Twitter is Alus Official, ALUS Official, because it's not just Alus yet. So Twitter, can you change it for me, please?
Got like Facebook pages?
Yeah, Facebook is
just
Alus, facebook.com/Alus Official. Yeah.
You have a Discord?
Discord, yes, you would have to click the link in my bio. Discord is like, it's invite only, or you got to get sent the link. So it's kind of exclusive. So you'd have to click the link in my bio to find the Discord.
Telegram, do you have a Telegram group?
No. Discord, just a Discord. And I talk to the Alus Army on there. It's so fun. And you can check out the merch and stuff like that on my website, alusofficial.com. So yeah, go check it out.
Beautiful.
Good stuff is coming. So like you wanna join the club right now. I'm telling you, this is a good time to join the Alus Army.
Yeah, 2 years from now, she won't even remember she did this podcast.
No, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. I'll bring you another Cowboys helmet you could put on the top shelf there.
I love it. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like I said, every day that I get to do this is a privilege. This is one of these things where I had an idea and people kept telling me, start a podcast. We're coming up on episode number 100 here pretty soon. Thank you so much for close to 250,000 downloads on Apple and the almost 6 or 7 million downloads on YouTube that you guys have given me for this podcast that I came up with on a whim because somebody was talking shit about me one time and I decided I'm never, ever going to let somebody have a narrative about me. So I started my own thing. Thank you for all the guys from the evolutionary psychology community that have reached out. We have some really great stuff coming up for you in the future. And thank you to all the other people who have hit me up that I've been following for a long time that write me and now it's like, hey, dude, I love your podcast. So that I really appreciate that. All the guys who have started watching Access Vegas, thank you so much for that. And then our Monday calls that we do, we're going to be doing one next Monday. Unless we're going to find you on those different platforms. Hopefully, anytime there's a charity event in Los Angeles,
please invite me. I would come.
So I host I host Smash Global, Babes for Boobs, Babes in Toyland, Babes and Ballers, and I host the Model Citizen Fund. I'll invite you to all those different things for sure.
You. I'll be
Definitely.
there.
Awesome, guys. Thank you all so much. I cannot express enough how grateful I am to you, and I will see you all next week.
Bye.